was.
Oh,
Was it the library? No, that's me whimpering on the floor. That's the library one.
the other was like not. It was like an awkward silence or something that I don't remember. But maybe.
I gotta remember. It'll come back to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Any word from Eli, Lou?
No,
Is it-
haven't
oh,
heard
yeah,
from him.
it's not. Is it August? Oh yeah, it is August. So September.
It's about to be September.
I think he's coming back in September, right? That's what I thought I heard.
He was supposed to come back in August at some
Oh.
point towards the end, so maybe. But I haven't heard back from him, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We shall see. Where is everyone? Everyone's late today.
Well,
Are we just in Issyk for the dragon thing?
And
Hollow Hand.
Oh, in Hollow Hand?
Yeah, we really wanted to investigate that whole situation. It was just, and I mean, she always wanted to come back and see what became of the place, so she was like on board, even if it was just for the dragon. I kind of feel bad for like not. I mean, I guess we didn't really feel like we owed anyone like to stay. So we're just like we did what we came here to do. But we would have, I think, if we hadn't been called away, I suppose.
so you guys like left right before everything went down?
Yeah. We had pretty much just recovered from our fight with Malik. We had met the Warforged.
Mhm.
That didn't go exactly that great. We actually met them on our way out because we got news about some happenings in Char that we wanted to get back to. So we fully intended to like come back after resolving things in Char.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out that way.
You ended up in the Shadowfell.
Yep. And that's kind of how our journal entries went too. It was like, yeah, and next time we'll be doing this and this and this. The next entry was, so we're in the Shadowfell. So.
Yeah, I think you followed someone there because they had kidnapped a member of your clan, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
well they kidnapped pretty much all of the remaining members, all of the ones at least that were hiding out in Char, and Braz, our actual party member, because he wasn't there that session or something. So
Also, you guys said he was kidnapped.
yeah, so
That's a good one.
he was. I think I forget if he was instrumental in or like had agreed to that being what happened, but yeah, he was also abducted. So we really didn't feel like we could just put it off. Like let's like go back to Issyk and do a bunch of political stuff, or we can go save my my clan. So yeah. But
Having trouble finding some of the NPCs in this game for some reason.
I don't, Uslag wants to know so much. Like what happened to Chiron? What happened to? I guess I didn't really care too much about Nimble, but slightly curious about that.
Well, it seems like the Warforged faction did not fare well.
Yeah, but I guess so. We brought Nimble with us to Char, but then we just left Nimble behind and went to the Shadowfell. So I'm wondering, like, did Nimble go back to Char, or back to Isaac, or did, whatever became of of our friendly little Warforged ambassador?
What
So
indeed?
my guess is probably perished with the rest, but I think last session, I guess Uslag was probably just a little bit like shell shocked by the return, like so that's probably why she was very talkative. Miri said she'll be here in 20.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Glenn
That
said
was that was a while
and
ago.
Glenn
I
said he'll
guess.
be on in a minute, so.
Yeah, we can start once Glenn gets here.
Okay.
We don't have to wait for.
Yeah, I think if we're still at the inn, which it seemed like at the end of last session,
Yeah.
I think Uslag would like to chat with some people about some things, so we could definitely do that.
Yeah, we're just gonna be wrestling Gavrix to make sure he doesn't transform inside the inn.
Yeah.
Just try to murder everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Uslag's a little bit upset with how Xana was treated as well, because she was so instrumental in us like saving, restoring Isaac to its thing. So she'll be right there. She'll maybe she probably won't help with the Gavrix situation with that. But she'll be like, I get you. She was awesome. She helped us. I understand, Gav.
Try to get everybody to put it in chat. Be like,
Oh, hey.
hey, wanted everybody to chat last week when we came back from break. Like, oh, thanks a lot for not being here. You saw we fucking TPK because we had no time.
Well, that's what I was worried about when I saw like the fetal position meme. I was like, oh no. But it was just the library. No
It's just everyone rolling
just
ones.
a vicious library.
Non-stop ones. I think what we had. I rolled 2. I rolled 3 nat ones. One of them was the story point. Australia rolled a nat one, and Slovak rolled a nat one. Oh yes, we had like 5 consecutive nat ones in a row. That is like the most brutal library in the world.
Yeah.
During that initial council, you did put the what are their names in charge, right?
Okay, so I don't remember a council.
Well, where did the gnome show up?
Aranye?
Yeah.
We encountered him before we fought Malik. So there's like I posted a little journal entry link so that I could reference it, but he kind of he gave us some information pretty much, and then we never really saw him again. So
Yeah, unfortunately,
play.
this game is old enough where those games were before I changed to the new note system, and some of the older notes
I mean,
got lost.
I have in the roleplay channel, I have a journal, like a link to the entry from when we met Hollowhand. If you ever want to look at it, it's just that's kind of how we discovered him, was just by exploring and running into him.
Trying to
randomly.
figure out which journal entry had notes on which faction you guys backed to be in charge, because I want to say it was, or if you were even involved in that.
I honestly don't think we were, because we
So that's why I don't think that you were
recovered
either.
with Chiron for 5 days.
Someone
and then we
mentioned the council. I think that was Miri, but she may have been mixing the games up.
Yeah. We just
That was
bounced.
Council. You guys, I thought, left before that.
We were in rough shape. It took us 5 days to fully recover after Malik, and then we spent some time with Chiron during that time, and then we got some news, ran into the the Warforged when we were trying to teleport back to Char, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, you didn't have too many interactions. You just kind of
like when we got back to Char, like there were just like the news was just getting around that Isaac was free of its curse, and like adventurers were starting to head there, and like so people were just starting to flock there when we got sent to the Shadowfell. So there was never, in my recollection, never a council.
All right. So something I did want to mention, because I've been kind of talking about with other groups, if people are missing, I was thinking of just making it okay for their characters to be run by the group, if the group is willing to do it. Because I feel like that would make more sense and flow better than me just saying, well, they just don't exist for this episode.
Yeah, I mean, that would be
Done
fine.
that before.
I mean, we've done that in the past, and it's
Remember my wombo combo with Hohenheim?
The issue would be that if you get killed, like, and you're not here, your character would still get killed, which is the only thing that would be the downside. You're not as safe if you're not in the background, but I think it's just, I mean, it sucks when people can't make the games, but it also sucks for the group to lose some of their resources that they're kind of depending on.
Yeah.
Especially
I mean, like for like roleplay heavy ones, it's a little tricky because like the player.
Well, I can roleplay people who are away.
Because you would know what Uslag would know.
Yeah, I kind of know your personality, so I think I can do a pretty good job of playing you. But for combat, someone else would have to play that character, just because I don't want to be fighting myself if I can help it. It just is not as much fun. Well, I guess for now, we don't have to worry too much. But as long, for right now, since Eli is away, does someone want to play his character? That would be, Eliran Frostshadow.
I'll play Eli. I know how to play Wizard.
Alright.
I played, sort of...
I've never played a wizard before, so I'd be a little nervous.
Yeah, same. So, all yours.
Alright. So
I think that makes sense, because I think like Eli and Glenn probably have like good synergy, like in combat, like as far as like their spells playing off each other.
Yeah.
Alright. So you just have to remember during battles to drag him on and roll initiative. But you should see him in the player character area. So Estrella,
will be here.
Yeah, I think she's gonna be here, so I'm gonna hold off on having someone else play her. But yeah, I'll put at least for now, so you can have 5. We could possibly figure out a 6th if you want to go hire an NPC or something. Because I do kind of balance things. I want to just start balancing things around, 6 players or 6 characters.
I'd be down.
Instead of like adjusting. So I just kind of assume that, you have more people. But anyway, for now we can do 5. It's fine. In the future, maybe some kind of hireling or something until we find another player. But let's see, we're on session 167. Eli is still not here. It looks like, well, of course it's going to be Estrella's turn. So Glenn, it is your turn this week to do the journal.
Anyone want to save me?
This would be like the 3rd week in a row they would have saved you. Sitting at
I
the
I can do it if you want.
I would love
He's
to.
always gonna want. All right. Sit at the top of the list.
you never know if you never ask.
Am I being an enabler right now?
You are, but that's fine.
Well, you keep on enabling me.
You've been sitting at the. Let me see. Wow, he was there last week. He was there. Oh no, I guess it was just last.
I feel like Uslag will have a lot of thoughts on Isaac, so it might be like a nice opportunity for me to like.
Oh wait, no, 1, 2. Yeah, he's been there for 3 weeks. That's fine. We'll say it's Uslog.
Okay.
Eli was sitting at the top of the list, but I finally took him off for now. I'm just gonna reinstate him if and when he comes back.
Okay.
All right, so Uslog, putting you on scribe. Is anyone willing to? I guess I should check to Estrella. Put in entry. Yes. So is anyone willing to give a read of Estrella's journal? Anyone?
Oh, let's see.
It's short. I just don't want to.
Wait, sorry. Can you ask that again?
A read of Estrella's journal.
Do I have to try and make an old lady voice while I do it?
No. I mean, you can if you want. I might give you an inspiration.
Okay, I'm gonna say. I can do an old man voice, old lady voice. I don't know. With the destruction of the crystal, Relic says that we handed his access to the Hollow, but he got what he needed already. The back in shadow while Glenn tries to convince Relic to join us, but he feels certain that we will make the same choices as the Zatian of other cycles. As the illusion shatters, we find ourselves back at the starry expanse of the Hollow. As we leave, Glenn glimpses the girl again, but he is unable to turn back as Demi says the Hollow is repairing from recent security breach. We pass a short rest, and Glenn re-enters the Hollow and calls for the child. She answers and says her name is Linra. She has apparently read Glenn's dossier. She had been here a long time and has learned to read some memories and knowledge of minds that touch the Hollow. She says that she hasn't spoken to others in a long time except the weird gnome. She shares the Hollow Hand told her that she isn't a real person, just a projection of a consciousness lost in the Hollow. She says she cannot leave but has gotten used to this place. She wishes her parents could know she's okay, as she thinks they must be worried for her. She shares that she's from the city of Orsis, an empire that fell in the 4th cycle, more than a millennium and a half past. As Glenn prepares to gently tell Linra that Orsis is gone, an adult woman's voice asks Glenn why he would tell her such a thing. Then there is a silence, and Glenn receives no more responses from either voice, despite efforts to call to them. Glenn asks Demi about Linra, but Demi does not detect another consciousness in the Hollow. Demi finds no records of any human named Linra. Demi also shares that it should be impossible for an Orsinian to enter the Hollow. We puzzle what this all means, then decide to find the second restricted library in the tower. Estrella finds theories on night weather written by criminal wizards of the 12th cycle, such as a theory that night weather doesn't actually exist in Gaian, but is actually in another world, either a pocket dimension or another dimension's version of Gaian, thus explaining why it's not affected by the cataclysms. Malin finds notes on transferring a humanoid consciousness into warforged bodies to make a person immortal, but the notes are incomplete and more research would be needed to know the complete rituals. Perhaps this could be some way to help that poor child Linra. Much more time is needed to study the library's contents, so we will return later. Meanwhile, we visit Isik to find Xanathor and Hollowhand V1. Upon arrival, we learn that Asmira has wiped out the Warforged and Sword Wraith's faction of Isik. They encountered Xanathor and tried to kill her, but she escaped. Glenn shares a lot of info with the Asmira spy master. We visit the local tavern, and Glenn gains favor with Asmira troops by buying rounds of booze and telling epic tales. Gavrix is allowed drunk. MVP Glenn, as it should have been.
All right, thank you for that recap.
Well read.
I'll give you 2
Thank you.
inspiration points for that.
Great stuff.
Alright, thank you.
And Mira even
Wonderful
got to show up and hear the account of her character.
That's when she came in like midway. I was like, oh no.
That sounds just like her. Alright, so it is the 43rd of spring at 4:30 p.m. Within the city of Issyk, which is being rebuilt but still pretty destroyed. What does the group want to do?
Uzlog is getting drunk with Gavrix and ranting about stuff.
Fair enough. What of the rest of you? You're at the tavern right now, as shown on the map.
I mean, if everyone's drinking, let's partake.
Yeah,
Estrella
we're all getting
going
big
in.
sloshed right now.
Yeah. Estrella would not hold back.
Yeah. Uzlog would be like chatting with Gavrix and saying, what a kami doesn't know is that your Xanthanor. She would get Xana's name wrong a million times. She was instrumental in restoring the city to a place where life can flourish again. She didn't have to do that. It was very rude of her to speak of her in such a way.
It's par
She
for
didn't
the
know.
course for your kind. He says your hatred of my kind for being superior is something that goes beyond the years.
I'm sure if they knew of her deeds, they might speak of her differently.
I doubt it. He says
she was very valiant.
Even the giants don't have the strange hatred of my kind as your people do. Says you think us pests, and you should be worshipping us like the gods we are. He says, I still feel like they're lucky I don't burn this place to the ground.
You're doing a great job. Hang in there. Just pats him on the back.
He just sighs. He says, at least the drink here is good. That's when do I get my tower? Glenn!
Now, first...
Glenn's just singing songs, and he acts like he doesn't hear it.
Yeah, and Uzlog just continues ranting about something else. So
looks at Uzlog. He says, I'm starting to think you all are forgetting, or thinking I forgot about that.
Well, first off, we have to go reunite. Well, first off, we have to reunite you with your boo. Which, can you imagine? Like, you come back and say, "Hey, while I was away, I acquired a new crypt for us." But second off, we're gonna need to find the other hollow hand that's here, because that would be quite interesting.
Maybe for you. I have no wish to see that blue-haired freak again.
Well, that blue-haired freak is in denial about other blue-haired freaks in existence, so it'll be quite interesting to see what happens if two of them meet, and if we can potentially figure out how to get to Nightweather.
Maybe. He says, I'm not interested in it. All I'm interested in is Zana and where she may have ended up.
Yep, first thing we do, buddy. This Warrior's Promise, we're gonna go find her.
Says, well, we'll see. As he takes another drink. Eli would look over at Glenn and say, that dragon's gonna be pretty pissed that we keep putting this off. I mean, what are we gonna do if he pushes
We're actively working on it.
Oh, he's not talking to you because you're near.
Sorry.
You're near. Yeah, you're near him. He's talking over to the side where Glenn is pretending not to hear it. Says, what are we gonna do if he pushes the issue? Assume we're not giving him the tower.
I am of the firm belief, philosophical belief that I call that bridge when we come to it.
He says, well, that bridge may be on fire and burned down if we, don't address this by the time we get to it. Might be much more difficult bridge to cross.
All bridges can be repaired. Just gotta get a bridge repairman.
He says you're pretty confident in your ability to talk your way out of things. Granted, I did see you pull off some amazing things in the dwarf city, so who knows? Maybe you can pull this off too.
My tongue has only failed me once, and it was because of my own. And it was because I didn't trust myself when I should have. I trusted a stranger instead, and he kind of glares at Eli.
He gives you a curious look. He says, "You're speaking of me?"
When you told me that the whatever that dwarf family was going to betray us and ambush us, and it wasn't true.
He sighs. He says, "Yes, they told me something that wasn't true. We were both taken for a fool. I do take responsibility for that. I mean, I didn't know they had reason to lie to me. I trusted them because they had been honest with me up until then. And I will admit I had a fierce hatred of those fire giants for what they did. It clouded my judgment a little.
Being a spy, I should have known better. I should have trusted my own ability, and sometimes I think back to that moment, if I had just trusted in my own ability more, if we would have had to kill that whole family, if we could have avoided that.
He nods and says, "We might have been able to, but what's done is done. All we can do is do better next time. And I'm just glad you all believed me when I told you I didn't know and was just telling you what I was told."
Well,
He says, "Had I been in your position and you had duped me and I had the superior numbers, I might not have been so lenient. Don't think it's not appreciated," he says as he takes another drink.
He nods. Well, I said that's what I'm sure we'll find a way to appease or quell Mr. Dragon. I'll know when I'll know when it presents itself. But until then, I will procrastinate as much as I can.
He nods and he says, "And I will continue to travel with you all to pay back the debt of deceiving you, as well as hopefully taking out those Deep Frost people who wronged us, and maybe even the giants who wronged me."
It'd be nice to go back there one day. Obviously, in disguise. But...
He says, "Well, something that might be useful for me, if we could find some scrolls, would definitely help me enhance my repertoire of abilities." He says, "Sometimes they sell them in big cities like this, though the state of this place, I doubt there's much of an underground market or a caravan presence. At least not yet. The place is still being rebuilt."
Well, as Mira said, she would join us tonight at the bar at some point. I'll ask her when she arrives, just in case.
He says, "I would appreciate that. I haven't asked directly, but I know you all have that bag that you keep pulling things out of that seems to have an endless supply of useful items. Maybe if you have some extra scrolls, I can buy them off the group, per se."
Well, you have to ask Era. He kind of stops himself, and as she was kind of the,
He
kind of handle a lot of the. He kind of thinks. I guess Uslag is handling the bag. I think.
Yeah, we've got
He says, "Well, I'll
stuff in there.
I will
I
check
never really
in.
know what to look for."
I will check in with her once she finishes speaking with Gavrex, as I don't want him to start questioning me as well.
Understood.
He takes another
Yeah.
swig.
Yeah, because I mean the scrolls aren't as useful to myself since I can't learn magic from them.
Nods. He says, I think I'm the only one in the group who can. So, I can pay for them with out of pocket. I don't mind, as they are things that you acquired before my time with the group. Although, if you gave me a discount, I would appreciate it, as the knowledge of those spells would help all of us.
I'm sure something like that could be arranged. I mean, I've made great use of my cittern, and my companions found that long before I joined them.
All right. So I'll say that you and he kind of continue talking for the time being. Anyone else want the camera for some RP or talking to someone?
I would tell Estrella all about this librarian that we met here once named Chiron, and how she would probably like to talk about books with him.
How fascinating. I would like to meet him very much.
Yeah. He's a little grumpy and not human. I'm not sure if he is actually still here.
You sure he's still alive? These fucking
He was-
humans probably killed him. As he looks up,
he was
and
allied
a bunch
with
of
the
people kind of turn away.
undead here, so.
Yeah.
But he's very powerful and had a lot of protections on his library, so it'd be a shame that.
Well, perhaps we should check up on him rather covertly, just so as not to draw attention upon him if he does still remain.
Yeah.
Someone says, "Hey, what do you mean us humans? You're a human too." And Gavrix gives him a look. He says, "Are you talking to me? Do you know who I am?"
I slap him on the
Says,
side
"You
of
look
the
cute."
back.
Hey! Boy, watch it.
And they think I'm
Careful,
they think I'm a
careful.
pure warforged. All right, listen, they all think we're uglies.
Ugh,
You know.
they're ugly. I'm majestic.
I have
I'm in
thoughts
an
on that.
ugly form right now. I should show them what I actually look like. Says,
Yeah, but that might just make it longer until we go find your Xana.
He takes a drink. Go ahead, continue, Estrella and Uslag.
That's pretty much it. I mean, I'd say he'd just be a wealth of information, but
Alright,
yeah, depending on if we could find him, and I would remember where we last saw him, but
so are we
probably not there
just
anymore.
passing time in here until the evening?
So
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
So time is passing.
Singing songs of our conquests and adventures.
Yeah, and I think you already paid a bunch of money for the tavern
Yeah.
to have drinks.
Yeah, for the good mood.
So there's definitely a lot of people here. Word of the free drinks has spread, as well as the mercenaries with the deep pockets. And
I'm gonna keep a tight hold on bag of holding.
keep an eye on the bag of holding,
We were the ones we were accessing your bag of holding last week.
sitting up against the wall with
Yeah.
your hand on the bag.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, the place is pretty full. The tavern keeper is happy and sends you guys over some free drinks and food as well. Glenn is playing music. Is anyone drinking too much? You all just kind of drinking a reasonable amount?
Yeah, reasonable amount.
Reasonable.
Alright. So... just roll something. If you want, you can pass a short rest while at the tavern. If you want to spend one to gain something, you can. It's pretty relaxed here.
Did we long rest at all last session?
Let me check. last session,
I still have
you did not, no.
Okay, cool. So this has been all like the same day.
Yeah, this is the
Okay.
day that you entered the Hollow, fought, freed it, and then came here, basically.
Yeah.
Oh,
We didn't
is-
expend any resources in the hollow, but we did like whatever damage we took in the hollow carried over.
Yeah, you took psychic damage.
Okay, so my rage would have been feeling resource.
Okay.
And I assume we took a long rest by the last time Eli played, so I imagine he's probably at full health by now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If he's not long rested, he should be. You can long rest him.
God damn, 89 HP. I always forget how fucking weak wizards are. Fucking D6, man.
Yeah. So, a little bit later, indeed, Akami does show up. A bunch of people bow.
There's
She's-
commies? I just had.
Akami.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, a bunch of people bow. She smiles and nods and sees you all and walks over to your table and sits down. She says, "I hope you're enjoying your stay in Issyk."
Oh man,
People-
it's been nice. It's been quite a while since I've been able to sing and have a concert like this without fire giants trying to kill me.
It sounds like you've had some amazing experiences. I don't know if I've ever even met a fire giant.
Okay, that's all I say.
Oh yeah, we went to this fire giant palace place or fortress place, and they had the Dwagers like pretty much as like indentured servitude, and we started a rebellion.
Saying a
This
whole,
is,
whole ballad about it just a few
yeah,
minutes ago.
to overthrow the fire
missed it.
giant, and we ended up killing the fire giant like avatar of their god.
She
It was
says,
a whole thing.
I know there are rumors of fire giant settlements deep within the mountains. There's also been word of frost giant attacks on Dazoric within the last few weeks. Not
Oh,
sure
yeah, we
what came
fixed
of
that.
that.
Been
Maybe
resolved.
you had something to do with that?
Yeah, there was like two different sets of frost giants. One's with them, and we even started a trade agreement with them and the city. And then there was like these other frost giants that were like eating trolls and like morphing into like evil two-headed crazy ass frost giants, and we killed them. We took care of them.
And meatloaf.
It says meatloaf. Like the food?
Well, that's their ugly ass looking demon that they spawned from. Well, I don't know where they spawned him from.
And the Shadowlords were doing some shit with them to try and gain more shadow crystals. This was the whole thing.
Well, I hear that demons can't ever truly be killed. So you must be careful. If you killed one, you probably made a lifelong enemy. He'll probably come back looking for you someday.
That guy was a chump, and I've only gotten stronger since.
Oh, well, perhaps there's nothing to worry about then. But yes, it sounds like you've gotten around helping various parts of the Empire. Most of our struggles have been political, infighting, as well as dealing with the remnants of some of the undead factions like the Alhoons. Though at this point we're through the worst parts. We're just trying to come out the other end and rebuild. Things have been settled. He says, my apologies again, Gavrex, for the misunderstanding with your ally. He says, we did attempt to come to reasonable terms with the Sword Wraiths and the Shadow Dragon. Unfortunately, things came to blows, and we had no choice but to fight. Much at great cost to us, let me add. Says it was a fight we almost lost. He just kind of gives her a dirty look and keeps drinking his booze.
Were you aware, Akami, about the Shadow Dragon's part in the freeing of Isik from the curse that it was under at all?
He says, I was aware of all that had happened, or at least I was told of the events, and of the Foxgloves, now Splitlanders' involvement. It was mostly the fact that we couldn't reach consensus over how the city was to be run, and it ended up coming to we ended up coming to blows because of it. Because I wouldn't necessarily. Well, I would have to check with Bakor on that. Actually, I was going to say I might be willing to pardon the Shadow Dragon, especially with all she's done. But I mean, as I said, I'd have to speak to Bakor, and I don't know if she'd ever want to come back here because of what happened.
Who's
go ahead.
Bakor? Who's the?
Oh, she says Bakor is Mira. My apologies, I forget I'm not always in the political circles. He is the son of the Izmira house, first in line for the Izmira seat on the council once our father passes. She says he's younger than me, or wait, is he younger than me? Hang on, let me double check that. Is she the little sister or the big sister? Oh, never mind. He's older than me, but she says, I'm not technically part of the family, but they've graciously given me a place within their political rankings. Sort of the same type of thing that Glenn here does, only with less singing.
Well, then you're not doing it right. He smiled.
She says, mine is more purely magic-based. And she snaps her fingers as her amulet lights up. She says, I have some magic in my blood. I'll just say that. So, what...
Dragon's blood.
She says, not exactly dragon, but something. I'm a sorcerer. Not studied magic use, but naturally talented. Ancestry, I guess you'd call it. An ancestry of beings that could do magic.
He nods. I figured you didn't, you don't have that nerdy look about you that wizards do. He kind of looks over to Eli.
She says, father was explorative in his ventures, I'll just say that. But,
He just laughed.
yes, so now I exist, and I use my magic to further my family's interests throughout the Empire. Doing, as I said, much the same thing you do.
How many other children are in line that are legitimate in your family, I wonder?
Illegitimate? Well, there could be
That
others,
are legitimate, I mean.
Oh, legitimate. Bakor has a brother, but he's younger and not interested in the seat. Not sure what he's doing right now. I believe he's out east in the capital, holding down the city along with father. As for illegitimate, there's probably several, but I'm the only recognized one.
So you are in line, it's just third, it sounds like.
She says, I don't carry the family name, and I'm not born of his wife. I have no claim by our laws. That's alright. I enjoy what I do more.
I believe one day, I've believe one day the world will be run by people like us. People who know.
She says the world already is run by people like us. Says we are the ones who are the hands of the heads of state. We enforce their will and bring it about. It's just the people won't recognize us because that would make things more inconvenient. So we do we have our power in other ways.
You know.
She says, I'm sure Uslag doesn't run any tribes, but she probably has had a lot to do with their fate over the years through her strength and abilities.
Oh. Thanks.
She also has her own theme song.
Mommy laughs at that. She says, I'm sure most of the group does at this point with you traveling with them. I don't, Eli says, looking at Glenn. When do I get the song?
He breaks out his sit turn. He kind of like stands on his jumps on top of his chair, and like puts a foot up on the back and like balances on it. And he starts strumming. He's like, Eli, the deceiver.
Eli
He
sighs.
came to us with a lie.
Well, that's sort of a theme song, Akami says. Is Estrella saying anything in all this, or is she just kind of remaining quiet?
I'm just gathering info, listening to all the juice.
What about Malin? Is he going to say anything?
Meh, not really.
So, she'll say, is there anything that, I know you said you wanted to speak with me after I finished, in the courts. Is there something in particular that you need from me or that I could help you with? Isik is very much in the debt of the Foxgloves, even if you are not the same group. I know that Uslag was here, and I'm happy to pay the debt to whoever remains.
We're still very much allies with the Foxgloves, and I'm sure you're aware of Foxglove Hall.
She says, I heard that you all started some sort of mercenary
Adventures
guild in Isik.
Guild, yeah.
Or
Yeah,
not Isik,
mostly,
in Char, yes.
With the coin that we earned in our adventures went towards that, yeah.
She says, well,
So.
I've heard good things about that guild. You know, if you are looking to start something like that in Isik, we could always use more skilled soldiers and mercenaries. I mean, I couldn't fund the building of it, but I could probably give you a plot of land. You know, you'd be taxed normally, of course, but you'd probably bring in a good amount of work having people here.
Yeah, I'm sure some sort of connection can be made. I don't know a lot about the whole business of selling land. It's usually just wherever I roam is my home, but
Well,
you know.
like I said, I could give it to you. I could give you one of the ruined house plots that we haven't rebuilt yet. Maybe you can use that to set up some kind of base for yourselves.
We'll take it.
I wonder how many gold bars we'll need to fund construction.
She says again, yeah, you would have to build it yourself, but yeah, it might be useful to have a base here in town with people we trust.
I whisper to Glenn, say, no need, we could just get the tower to teleport right on top of that plot.
Our tower that is not our tower.
working on that.
Wait, your tower to teleport? How big is this tower? Wait, what? What? You have a teleporting tower?
We haven't done in exploration phase. We haven't measured the circumference and figured out the diameter yet. But we'll take the land and then we'll figure it out.
Did you create this tower? What
No.
is this tower?
It's a special tower.
She says,
Yeah,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, it was kind of modeled by the Rune Master.
Never heard of a tower that could teleport. I have heard of the Rune Master's base. It was rumored back in the 12th cycle it could move its location. She says, so you uncovered it?
Yeah, we even met one of the Rune Masters.
Fascinating. You really have had quite the adventure.
Yeah, he was an undead lich. He controlled 3 beholders.
She says, have you spoken to the Phoenix Guild at all about this tower?
No, we haven't. I don't think so.
Since they would probably be very interested in studying it, perhaps unlocking magical secrets that could benefit the Empire. Of course,
Well, we're not quite there yet. We still we don't exactly have a full ownership of this tower yet, so we're still working on that front.
It's my tower, Gavrik says. He says
It's a shared co-op. Relax.
They have promised it to me, and I do intend to have it. I haven't forgotten. She says, "Oh, well, I'm sure you all can figure that out." But yes, the land is available, and I guess Uslog or any of you, do you have something you need of me or the city of Issyk?
Well, I know Eli was wondering if there had been any caravans or traders coming through that had spell scrolls for sale so far.
There have been caravans. Being a sorcerer, I don't often trade in scrolls outside of a small collection I've amassed for myself. I could tell you where to go in the capital and in a couple of other places, but here, that's a little harder. She says, there is the librarian. I think you knew him, the undead.
Chiron?
Yes, that's his name.
Still around.
Yes, he was more cooperative than some of the others, though he unfortunately is not well, he's a bit unhappy of how things went with Dinara and the Sword Wraiths. But he's chosen to remain neutral and just asked he be left alone to his research, so we agreed to it.
I'm sure he wouldn't mind a
Says he might have some scrolls. The next caravan is in 5 days from now. I mean, there's always a chance they have some, but that's always that's not something that's not reliable.
I think we have some. Glenn, you need scrolls for something?
Eli says, I need scrolls. He says, I am a wizard, and anything I could scribe could be of use to the group. He says, as I told Glenn, I would be willing to pay. As long as it's reasonable. But I'll also note that if I do scribe these spells, I could use them for the group's benefit. Why? What do you have?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I think... Oh yeah, I would probably have like a list of the inventory of what's in the bag of holding, I would assume. Otherwise, I'd just reach in the bag and be like, think of a scroll.
Yeah, I think the group has just kind of been going, just kind of putting things in there. I don't think anyone's been taking...
Oh, I mean, I'm definitely like out of character. Like, I know what's in there, but...
Yeah. But this might not be the place to do it, because you probably have to like dump it out and look through things.
Yeah.
He says, well, no rush. It just, maybe tonight after we finish here, I can go through it with you.
Yeah. I'll just look at the group and be like, it might be worth it.
She says, well...
Wizards be wizards. Doing wizardy things.
Oh, actually, and he kind of looks to Estrella. He says, are you a wizard as well?
I am not.
Oh, well, good. I thought I was being rude.
I do very much appreciate knowledge and books and ancient lore, and am always open to learning new things, but my magic doesn't derive from my studies.
Oh. He says, I thought you might be one because of your love of history. Are you like a kami? Are you a sorceress caster?
No. I've dabbled in a few different styles of practicing magic throughout my time, and put some different methods together to kind of create my own way of going about the planes. A little bit of primal, a little bit of holy, and a little bit of borrowed magic.
This is fascinating. Primal. You have druidic magics.
I do. In fact, they are my most prominent.
I should have guessed from some of those symbols. He says that makes sense. Ami says, "Oh, you rarely see druids in civilized areas. Are you? I mean, I assumed you were part of the Splitlanders."
We're recent acquaintances, but they do have many fascinating acquaintances themselves.
She nods. She says they've been detrimental to Issik's salvation and the rebuilding.
Detrimental, you say?
Or not detrimental. Instrumental, yeah. But yeah, they haven't been here a while. And Eli says, "Well, that's fine. The scrolls can be mine then, if Estrella is not interested, unless there are, primal scrolls, of course." And yeah, Kami at this point will just kind of go back more to small talk and continue drinking with the group, unless someone's gonna talk to her about something specific. Alright, so time is passing. So she, as it's getting later, it's now about 8:30 in the evening. She says 3 hours is probably my limit. I think I'm going to take my leave, friends. But it was lovely talking to you all and getting caught up. Your stories are quite epic, I will say. Glenn has song material from now until the end of time. But if you do think of something you need before you leave, just come let me know, or come find one of the guards. You can find me at the keep itself. It's easier than going
Did
to
you
the
tell
chapel.
us where to find Kyron?
Yeah, he's still in his library below the keep.
Okay.
So if you just come to the keep, you can enter the lower areas. He's asked no one go down there, but I think he'll make an exception for you and your group.
Okay. Knowing him, he'll know who are coming.
She says, I can send word if you want, but it might be more fun if it was a surprise. Alright,
Sure.
So what does the group want to do at this point? Or you want to just pass the evening?
I think past the evening, I guess, if anyone has.
Yeah, I mean, I would just probably is Akami going to stay, or is she leaving?
She's gonna leave unless you ask her to stay.
I'd ask her to stay. I mean, I could kind of tell the story of essentially why we're here and about the dragon and everything.
Sure. Well, I assumed you already told her. But we can say, so you're just telling her what exactly?
Just kind of about the dragon stuff and, the why essentially we came back, to reunite Dragon Mud.
Alright. So she she'll say, well, it makes sense that you are asking about the dragon then. I'm not sure what I can do to help you, but as I said, the dragon, from what I know, just flew north, fleeing this place when things were going poorly. It says we've taken some of the things out of her lair, but she moved most of them, I think, in preparation for this happening. We were only able to confiscate some of her treasure, some of the gold pieces that she left behind.
Cue the grumbling. I'd look to our dragon.
He is like almost passed out from drinking at this point.
Okay. We're gonna
really
have to
paying
drag his ass
attention
back
anymore.
around with us.
Not gonna use one of his legendary resistances or something.
Yeah, he seems a little out
Use
of
them
it.
all.
In fact, I think he probably went to bed at this point. He was getting a little tired. She says, "So yeah, again, what can I do to help with your search for Zana?"
As far as that goes, well, it'd be nice if you could come with us, because I'd like to let her know, when you find her, that it can still be her home if she wishes it.
She says, I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think, well, again, I'd have to check with Bakor, but she's a dragon. Why would she want to live among humans, especially if we know what she is?
I mean, she lived here she was stuck here quite a while. I mean, for a while, I might start to feel like, oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
Because she was bound here for quite a while, so it might, he shrugs, it might feel like a home to her.
Well, I probably will not be able to travel with you just because I have so many obligations here. But if she does want to come back, I mean, we can probably, speak with her, much like we spoke with your friend Gavrix, and I don't know. I can't give you an answer. And honestly, I don't know if Bakor is going to want to risk it. Like, dragons don't generally live among people. There's a good reason for that. But if she wishes to visit, that would probably be fine.
Alright, I can understand that.
He says, or she says, why do you want her to live within the city?
No specific reason. Just in case she does, like to have all areas covered.
Does anyone else have anything to say? He says, alright, well, if you do catch up with her and wish to talk to us about it, you're free to come and speak with myself and my brother. Alright, so I'm going to end this scene because I'm not sure what we're doing. What does the group want to do? Just pass time for the evening?
Yeah, let's just sleep in until the morning and
Go find that island.
Alright, so evening is...
I'm gonna
Yeah.
see if I can get Economy to drink with me.
What you're going to ask her to stay and drink?
Yeah.
Give me a persuasion check. So she says, I could probably stay a little longer. I do have things I need to do tomorrow. She says, what more is there to talk about?
Well, we could swap old war stories. He kind of winked.
Are you like trying to be flirty / romantic?
Yes.
So she gives you half a smile, and she says, I suppose we could talk a little bit more. As I said, though, I do have some responsibilities tomorrow. If you wish, we could do this again tomorrow as well. Though tonight, I don't know how late I can stay out. She says,
Of course, I would never want to keep you from your duty. I understand.
She says, I would be happy to swap war stories, though, as you put it. Perhaps I can tell you about some of the things I've done. Some of the other stuff I'm kind of bound not to talk about. You know how it is.
Oh, I know. We all have our secrets in this line of work, but the stuff that we can talk about is usually the most fun.
It usually is. She says, alright, well, if you're here tomorrow evening, how about we agree to meet and I can show you around.
Perfect. Sounds like a date.
She smiles and says, see you then, Glenn. And she'll walk away. Eli
I give
says,
Glenn a nice little pat on the back.
Eli
He
says,
smiles.
we can't bring you anywhere.
He smiles and looks over to Malin and see that's how you do it.
Okay.
Alright, so the evening is passing. I'll say it costs you each 2 gold to stay here for the evening. So go ahead and minus 2. That's good for taxes and just expenses in general.
Mhm.
You're taking that out of
Party treasury. Yeah.
Oh, are you
Party
paying for
treasury.
everyone? Alright, so that would just be 10 gold then.
From
Or do we want to start instead of constantly pulling for party treasury, do we want to pull some sums for ourselves at least for the time being?
Well, you don't have the gold that's in the camp, remember. You'd have, because the camp is
whatever's
not
on your
in
sheet.
the area. You would just have what's on your sheet. So for now, I'd say just put, I'd say each you just pay 2 gold.
Well, I technically put everything I had in the bag of holding,
Yeah.
money-wise, so...
Alright, so
You have gold in Uslog's bag of holding if you want.
So
Just pay for
Malin's sleeping outside.
Yeah, I mean, I could. So I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay for Malin Uslog, that's fine.
I mean, it's not my money. It's just the money that the party has put in Uslog's bag. She's got her own money stashed somewhere else.
Alright, because the
but yeah,
camp
you'll
has
pay
quite a bit of money. I assume that's
Yeah.
different from what you have in your bag.
Yeah, there's 298 gold in Uslog's bag of holding.
Gotcha.
I just imagine Uslag keeps her gold in her shoe or something. Or like in her boot.
Keeps
Yeah.
what?
She just
I
has...
just imagine it was like it keeps her gold in like her boot or something.
Yeah, it's probably that sounds about right.
Yeah. Alright, so you pay for Malin. The evening will pass, so go ahead and long rest. It is now the next morning at 8 a.m. You wake up in the inn, refreshed. Eli, I'll say during the night, will speak with Uslag about the scrolls the group has. What scrolls do you have? That you could give
Yeah,
them?
so I would double check with the group before I, gave any away or like sold them, I guess, because I don't know how much scrolls are worth. Uslag would not know that. But yeah, she would share like what is in there. Yeah, that's okay with everyone.
Who?
Yeah,
What's the proposal?
he wants to see what scrolls we have.
Who is this?
Eli, the wizard.
Oh,
Oh, I was thinking it was Slovak.
yeah. That's what threw
No,
me off.
Slovak isn't with you. He's back at the tower. This is Eli.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's Eli, it's like, yeah, definitely.
Well, so
should-
I dumped all of Arapel's stuff into camp. Like, would it be in the bag of
We have-
holding?
Oh yeah, we have a bunch in Uslog's bag of holding. I'm looking at it. I'm
Okay.
just wondering if we should, share it. But since it's Eli, I feel like
Yeah.
we could share it. Okay.
Alright, so
I
you're
was like,
you're going to give him the
yeah.
scrolls. You're not going to charge him or anything.
well, yeah, double check. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, what scrolls do you have?
We have a scroll of banishment. I would just hand him scrolls, and he would probably recognize what they are. Scroll. What? Where'd it go?
Let me
There it is.
look.
Scroll of banishment. Scroll of false life. Scroll of fireball.
Right,
2
hang
scrolls
on.
of freedom of movement.
So he has fireball. He can take banishments. Let me put that on his sheet. Because he definitely would want scrolls if you're willing to give them to him. Because I think he can memorize or scribe banishment. Okay, so banishment. What was the other one? False life?
False life. Yeah.
Is that a wizard spell? Just
I
kind of,
believe it is.
yeah, I think it is. I don't see it. So he'll take that. False life. Anything else? He has fireball, so he's not going to take
Fireball.
that.
Okay. Freedom of movement. I don't know if that's a...
That I think is a level 3. I don't think he has
It's
that.
a level 4.
Or yeah, he doesn't have that, so he'll take that.
I don't think it's a wizard spell.
Oh, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Let me double check.
But
Freedom of movement.
Glenn or Estrella could use it.
Artificer, Bard, Cleric. Oh, you're right. It's yeah. So he will skip that one. What else?
protection from elementals.
That's a
Or from
scroll.
element.
That's not a
Yeah.
That's not actually a spell.
Oh, okay. Revivify, but I think
That's
that's
not
not a
him.
wizard spell. See invisibility.
That is. So he'll take that one. And I wouldn't have him scribe these just yet, but he'll have them ready for when he wants to.
Do you mind if I hold on to that Revivify? I promise to keep it handy in case we need it.
Sure. Sure.
Thank you.
That's it's good
so
that you
we'll-
can
we
cast
should
that, Eli says.
Change who's in possession of these now.
Yeah, all like banishment, false life, invisibility. You should delete those because I have them on his sheet.
Okay, you've recorded them in there. Cool.
Yeah, I'm
And I've
recording.
got Revivify recorded as well.
Okay.
He says, any other scrolls?
That's all that I have in this. The rest might be at camp.
He nods and says, well, this will give me something to do. All right.
Banishment, false life, and see invisibility. How do I? Okay, sorry. Just me over here struggling with stuff. How do I delete an entire row?
Click on the row number left.
Oh, okay.
Right click on that
Right.
and then delete.
And delete. Okay.
Just
Got it.
remember that if you insert lines, some of the formulas won't be on those lines, but you can drag them down from the higher lines.
Okay. Just deleting stuff.
Gavrik says, all right, so we're going to go find Zana today. Or what's Zana? Zala? Yeah. Oh, no, Zana. Yeah, we're going to go find Zana today, yes.
Oh my gosh.
What? What do you mean, oh my gosh?
Oh no, that's I mean, maybe Uslug would say that.
Yeah, sure.
He nods. He says, good. Tired of being in this human settlement. The Xanathor needs me. She's probably feeling very upset having her lair stolen from her.
A little bit worried.
Fine. It's okay. It's all good.
Alright, so are you heading out or are you doing something else? What is the group doing?
Well, either we go. Why do we need to go to the island again? Is it because the Hollow Hand might be there?
We want to try to convince version 1 to come with us to the Rune Master's Tower without telling him that our purpose is to make him meet version 3.
Wasn't the whole point to get rid of that gnome and now you're going to bring him back? Another one to the Rune Tower?
The idea is that the original may be able to get rid of the one that's causing us issues.
Or they'll team up and then we'll have 2 blue-haired gnomes to have to deal with getting my tower.
Oh, there's an. There, oh, no, never mind. I wouldn't know that.
I just think we should try.
It's
It
a
was
risk, but
helpful
alright.
if still ornery
Uh,
last I met him.
give me a persuasion.
who?
Oh, Uslag, she's talking. I'll say Estrella can
What am I
assist if she wants.
trying to persuade him about?
What am
Oh, just
I?
to like go along with
He
this.
seems like he is annoyed that you want to do the go talk to the gnome.
Oh,
15.
okay, that's
I don't think I would be
That's-
trying to persuade him because I don't know any of. I haven't met any of the gnomes.
Well, I'm trying to persuade him. Now, so
Oh, I
I
thought
can
you
say I
said
was helping.
Estrella. I thought he said for me to roll something.
Says fine.
I mean, a 15 for Uslag is really good.
If you want to go deal with that gnome, that's your business. I'm gonna stay here and wait.
Sounds good.
He says, but tomorrow I want to go and look for Zana.
We can leave later today. It's not going to take this. I don't think this is going to take us the entire day.
Oh well. You
I
have
mean,
till
I look
tomorrow. If you want to leave early before then, that's fine. But I don't want to wait longer than that.
It may be a little faster if you come along with us, because if I remember correctly, that lake is guarded.
Well, I look at them and I say, "Hold up! Wouldn't it be better to go and try to talk to him on the way back? Because
He says, look,
we'd be anyway
alright.
we anyway would be heading back to the tower. So we say like, oh, we're heading back. Why don't you come with us? Versus we talk to him, say, okay, just hold on, and then come back with us later.
He says, you know what? I think maybe it would be better if I just use dragon form to fly north and see if I could find her. You all would just slow me down on those slow human legs that you travel on. He says, I can go much faster through the skies, so why don't I go look for her and you work on this gnome thing?
You hold your horses. Hold your horses. First off, you're gonna cause it might take you just as slow because everyone's gonna go freak out, panic. No one's gonna know you're coming. For all you know, she could have hidden herself. It's not something you could just fly over and find her.
He says,
I think though we
"Who's
should
gonna-
go first to go find her.
Who's
and,
gonna freak
that-
out and panic? What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know. I just see a fire flaming bozo flying through the air, spouting and yelling all around the place. You know, a normal human would probably be a little perturbed about this.
They're down below. What are they gonna do? He says,
Go
I don't have to take off from Issyk. I could go outside town and do it.
Why would I'm willing. I'm of the opinion. I'm willing to go find Xana right now.
Well, what about the rest of your group?
I think that it makes sense that we visit Hollowhand last, since if we are able to convince him or trick him or whatever, get him to come with us, then we would want to return immediately to the tower, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Glenn?
Yeah.
Well, are you also going to come with us to find her?
Yes, I was the plan all along to reunite the two lost loves, so I would love to be there when they first meet.
This is good.
First time in many years.
Then it's settled. Now, as I said, I can fly, so I can travel a bit quicker than the rest of you.
I could travel rather quickly, but not. Yeah, I could fly as well.
Same.
If the others have some resolution for their own flying.
Oh, yeah, I can fly as well.
How long can you all fly for?
5
2 hours.
hours.
2 hours.
He looks to Glenn and Uslag.
0.
Well, let
Hours.
me see. Let me think about this.
Well,
Could
give him a
I?
little slap on the back and say, "Well, it's okay. You got someone on your back, right, big boy?"
Give me a
I might also be able to carry someone.
I did get a persuasion.
How did he react to the idea of him carrying someone?
He didn't sound like he liked it.
All right.
I have to think about what form I might be able to take, but I might.
He says, I don't think I've ever let someone ride on my back while I've flown.
In your claws?
He smiles. He says, that might be more acceptable.
It takes a certain level of trust.
Yes, very well. I guess I could carry one of you in a claw. It's pretty much the same thing as being on my back.
Okay, what do we do with the last person?
I can probably. I'm checking. I apologize. Out of character. She's not a moon druid, and I think she's high enough level druid to do flying forms. I just have to figure out what flying forms she can do and whether they're strong enough to carry you.
Can she do Giant Eagle?
I think so. I was just trying to look it up to see what its CR is.
I'd say it's like 1/4. I could double check though.
Here it is. Okay, it's challenge 1, so she can do that.
Yeah.
I think. Wait a second. Let me just confirm. I'm so used to barrel that I get confused. She can do.
Depends
What
on how
CR
much
is she
druid
at?
you are.
Yeah, she's 11 druid. So I was just trying to find the text on Wild Shape. Why can I not find this? Here it is. Okay. 8th level, she can do CR1. So yes, I can carry one of you as an eagle for 5 hours.
Alright, I'll carry Glenn. You carry Uslog.
Very good.
Yeah.
Gavrick, been through a lot, you and I, and you said I was the first person to really, understand you, and I mean, you kind of like leans and whispers, like, "Oh, get ready to come back."
What?
Is he drunk?
I won't tell anyone.
What?
Can't you let me run on your back this one?
And he says, well, wait, don't you have a date with that Akami today?
Tonight, I believe.
You think we're going to get back by then? I mean, she could be miles and miles to the north.
If we don't, he'll
Like we've
charm
got more
whatever else we find.
Things to do than a date. Just sorry.
If we don't get back in time, I'm sure Glenn will find someone else to charm.
Give me a persuasion, Glenn.
All right.
Five. He says, he says, all right, I guess this one time, but I want your word that you're going to give me the tower as soon as we get back.
Oh my god.
Well,
He says, which you're supposed to be giving me anyway. As his voice gets more stern.
Oh my god. I have so much I want to say.
we're
holding my
working
tongue.
on it. It's still in the works, so to speak. So
This is Barbarian. I see you skulking over there. Do you have something to say on this?
I think Glenn said what I was thinking in a much more eloquent way.
Very well. You can ride on my back just this once. All right.
you are. I very much appreciate it, Gavrix. You are so gracious. Truly a magnificent.
Says I know. It's nice of you to recognize that. Alright, so the group is going to travel north. It's mostly open plains until the mountains. Gavrix will say, if I was her as a red dragon, I would fly for the mountains for a temporary lair. So my guess is she's going to be in that area. It may take us a few days to get there.
Towards Roa calls.
That would be pretty funny if it turns out.
That would be really funny.
If what?
it would be funny if she went up and decided to nestle where you would where Gavrix would
There's a lot of mountains, though.
wants
Yeah,
to go
this is true,
set up
yeah.
shop. So
Oh, and the Rune Master Tower is very far north from here.
Isn't there an
Yeah.
ancient dragon in that area? She
Yes.
probably
That
would
too,
hold
that too, she has to-
Yeah. Also, she'd be contesting with a very dangerous opponent. Says, all right. Well, yeah, we should start our search there. See if she made temporary residence in that area. I'd be able to tell pretty quickly, depending on the wildlife, and if she'd been hunting, there'll be signs of it. She would have to feed herself.
All right. Can I, before we go then, can I write a note and slip it into, I don't know, for a comment?
Yeah, you could, you want to have one of the guards try to bring it to her?
Yeah, basically saying, like, hey, it's probably going to take more than a couple days. Is like, let's rain check our
Standing
date
her
so when I
up
get
on the
back.
first date.
Gotta keep her, gotta leave her warm.
Yeah, sure. I'll say you sent her a note.
Okay.
Alright, so the party begins traveling north. Even by flying, it's probably going to be 2 to 3 days to get there with rest.
okay.
You said you could all
No.
fly. What are your flight speeds?
Normal walking
30?
speed.
Alright.
Mine's 80.
My flight speed is the dragon's flight speed.
Yeah.
Uslog is also 80. What do you know?
Woo, I'm flying.
The dragon rolls his eyes and says, "Get on my back, Malin, or get in my hand." You're
And
being
I would
carried.
be able to
Okay.
do 10 hours and then short rest in another 10 hours.
Yeah, we're not gonna wait for your slow ass. He says.
Haha, funny. Okay. I'll just hang off it as we're flying.
This is just another thing that I'm superior at.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright, so his flight speed, I think, is like 120 or something, but let me double
Oh,
check.
nice.
So I think the slowest one is like 80 for the Eagle.
Yeah, sounds right.
Alright.
While we're traveling, I assume we land periodically, like every few hours or something.
Yeah, you'd have to land to
I would-
rest.
I would like to take note of large plants or trees along here to return later via transport.
Yeah, I have to roll for the journey, which I'll do in a moment.
Plants,
Just
straight
checking
looking for some
something.
herb.
She's looking for some faster travel next time.
Nah, I think.
Is it
Oh.
okay if I add a couple tree friends to the
Never
map,
mind
Lou,
the. Oh yeah, as you're traveling, yeah. If you want to put down markers as you go,
Okay.
that's fine. But his speed is 82, so never mind. It's the same as the Eagle.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we do a break? Since we're like at the halfway point, you guys can stretch and do whatever, hang out. And yeah, let me maybe
You know that.
Glenn
that
can have a coffee.
Yeah.
You
well,
seem
Snack run.
pretty tired.
I actually just heated my dinner, so
I need a coffee.
coffee
I'm
would be
tired.
great.
All right, yeah, be back in a little bit.
You know what this means? Lou's gonna throw combat at us.
Oh,
He's
no.
like, I'm gonna let y'all rest before I fuck you up.
Is that obvious? No, just kidding.
no, it might mean that we discover have some sort of other discovery. May not
That's true. That's true.
necessarily be combat.
I just got to roll for travel, and travel could be a bunch
Ah.
of things. You could discover stuff, you could fight stuff. It just depends on. I mean, you guys have pretty good survival, I think, with Uslog, so you can avoid most of the bad stuff unless she rolls really shit.
There, I put a tree friend at Isaac.
That's fine. You go pet a tree.
Although I guess it might be a little outside the city because the city's just recently been
I
washed
mean,
away of necrotic, right?
there's
Been
some.
several months.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
Oh, okay.
heavily damaged trees in Issac, but I mean, some of them are still alive and kind of regenerating. So you could probably find one in the city. All right, I'll be back.
Alright. To find sugar, I go.
I need water. There we go.
Yeah, all right. I'll go munch time.
So anyone been playing any good games except Baldur's Gate?
Decided to try Baldur's Gate 1 and just like play through the whole franchise because I just want to experience the story. But no, I
Interesting.
haven't tried anything else.
How are you liking the first one so far?
I'm not that far in, but it's fun. It's like in an old school kind of way, you know. I kind of enjoy it, like just the different art style and everything. But I don't know. So far, haven't experienced too much of the story.
It can be pretty rough. Like I said, I mean I love first and second one. The second one was like one of my favorite games growing up, but
Yeah.
it can be hard to go
That's
back
the one
and
I
play
really
it.
want to play. Is the second one,
Oh, the second one's so good.
but I feel like I have to play the first one if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, it's better if you do, because the
Yeah.
second one picks up like right after the first one.
Yeah.
And
So.
it does not like do a good job and like entertain me. And yeah, anyway, but it's weird with the rule set too. Like the rule set's so different compared to 5e in that game, since you're playing I think 2nd edition. With like the armor class is weird, and the oh my god, spellcasters are
Yeah, I've already experienced that. Like running. I had a mage. Like, I mean, I knew like go for the mage first. That was like the one thing I knew about this game was like always go for the mage first. And I did that, but not before they like made my whole party panic. Even after the mage was dead, they were just wandering around aimlessly for like 5 minutes, real time.
When then it's so funny because like when you get higher level, the mage duels are like crazy because then like I like almost every other, from what I remember, almost every other level of magic has basically like one of those resolute sphere spells that like nullifies all harmful magic below a certain level, and so like all the mages start casting that, and so you have to like find a way to dispel it or like break through it, and then if you don't have one, the enemy mages will just blow up your mage and just CC him to hell.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna blunder my way through. But I'm sure.
I mean, that's the best way, and especially like the second one is so fun because like once you get past the tutorial dungeon and you get to like is such a huge city with so many districts. I mean, and there's just so much like I remember just exploring each district for the first time, just finding like so many quests and companions and just stuff to do, and it's so funny, and because some of the stuff is timed. Like there's one companion I remember in the second game where like there are certain quests, if you don't do it certain time, like he has a trial to become a paladin or something, and like his trial comes up, and they'll be and then there's certain quests that if you don't do, they'll be like, well, I see you had the chance to help this person and you chose not to. And I remember the first time playing, I didn't realize that, and he failed his paladin test and he turned evil, and he got like he was really fucking disgruntled and angry, and he turned evil, and there was another paladin in the party that was like, it's okay, man, there's still a chance, and he's like, fuck you, and they kept arguing, and then they came to blows one time. I'm like, no, stop fighting.
I love that kind of in a way, because sometimes it's just happen naturally.
It's interesting. I never played a game where there was real consequences.
The whole world doesn't stop
just
for you.
Exactly, like for inaction instead of just like.
Yeah.
Usually you get punished for like doing the wrong thing. Sometimes you get punished for just not doing any and just not doing it quick enough.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What game are you talking about?
Baldur's Gate 2. She's talking about how she's playing the first one for the first time now.
Yeah, they don't make games like that anymore.
I was sorry. Do you remember the paladin from the second game? I was telling her how like his test.
Man, it's been so long since I played that. I remember John Irenicus being a dick at the beginning. Then I remember how good it felt to like finally murder him at the end. I also remember going through some elf city in the trees where I just decimated all the elves because they were being dicks or whatever was there. Maybe it wasn't elves. I forget what I was fighting. There's like a couple little tidbits I remember about the game, but it's been so long. I think he was probably my favorite Baldur's Gate villain, John Irenicus. It was voiced by, who's that guy who like voiced every bad guy in the 90s? The one from Star Trek. The Three Lights guy.
I know the voice, but I can't remember the name.
He has a great voice.
Is it David Warner?
Might be.
I just looked it up. Yeah, I think it's David Warner, John Irenicus.
Yeah, he was great. Probably, like I said, my favorite Baldur's Gate villain. I mean, the first game, like, what was it, Ball that you fought, or maybe fought? He was, like, pretty straightforward, like, chaotic, evil guy.
I mean, all I know about the first two is from what gets referenced in Baldur's Gate 3, so...
Oh, no, it wasn't Ball you fought. It was the guy in 3 that you encounter again, isn't it?
Oh, Sarevok?
Yeah, I think it was Saravok who you fight in
Yeah.
the first game at the end.
That makes sense because from the cutscenes that I've seen so far, I'm like, that looks a lot like Saravok.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yes, and then Saravok shows up
Wearing
again.
Saravok's armor.
I
at
think he
least.
shows up in 2 as well, but I forget. And then I know he shows up in 3 because I just murdered the fuck out of him. So,
I just looked up a video of John Arenicus' voice because it's been so long since I heard it. And I'm like, oh yeah.
he was they did like he was one of I think he was like the first villain where I like just fucking hated him. Like he was such a good like antagonist. Like murdered what's his name right at the beginning. Jahira's
Yeah,
husband.
Chihira's husband, yeah.
I was like, you bastard. How dare you?
But the good news is it made her single.
Yeah, although it's not like she's like even an
I
option in
know.
3.
I know.
Forget. I think they did have. I don't remember if they had romance options in Baldur's Gate 2.
They did.
They did.
Because I remember romance. Because I think I told Usa. Not last week. She wasn't here, but the week before that. Laconia in Baldur's Gate 3 really surprised me. So I was like, no, I romanced you in the second one. Don't do this to me.
Which one was
crazy.
Laconia?
The Char, Mother Superior, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the same person from 2?
Yeah.
Oh
That's
shit!
what
I
was
didn't
like.
even recognize that.
Yeah, Laconia Devere.
Oh my god.
It's so evil.
Was the Moon Priestess in 2 the one who's with the angel? I keep feeling like she
Isabel?
was.
Oh, Isabel.
I don't think so. I remember there was that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I just remember a character in 2 who looked like her, like this elven lady. But it was probably someone else. But yeah, I didn't even make the Shar connection. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was like all that made me want to experience the other stories because, like, hearing the backstories of all these other characters, I'm like,
I mean,
there's more I can experience of them.
Yeah, they're great games, but
Just from what I hear in the game, like in Baldur's Gate 3.
It's definitely. I mean, it's 2nd edition, so it definitely hasn't aged as well. Like the the game mechanics.
Like game. Yeah.
Like you have to kind of figure out 2nd edition and how it works. Like the crazy like Thaco and saving throws, the way they do things.
I know it's so backwards.
A lot of missing. I just remember, at the beginning of the game, there was a lot of missing.
Yeah. It's pretty much like you're terrible until like everything starts to click, and then you're just like a badass. I remember I had one of the party members was like a dwarf who was like a mage slayer, and all he would do is run past like the front line of the enemies and just start hitting the mage, because then they couldn't cast any spells, and then he'd just like destroy them. Because he had haste and boots that made him run really fast. He was just like right in there, just murdering everything.
Yeah.
All the
I already hate the mages. Already, I'm
good
like,
old
mages.
2nd edition mages. It's like either when the battle starts, either you're dead or they're dead. There's no in between.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they like almost
That's
every
2nd
level.
edition magic use. It's like, well, either you kill them really quick or they kill you really quick. That's how magic worked back then.
We're talking about like the crazy mage duels. How like almost every level there's like a bubble spell that absorbs so many levels of spells.
Yeah,
and
like
so
if
just like.
It's funny, like, I remember the first time, like, I played, and, like, if you piss off the guards because, like, you attack someone, like, these like, wizard guards come in, and they just, like, suddenly have all the shielding, and are, like, throwing fireballs and shit, and they're, like, hasted, and you're just like, what happened? And you just, like, explode and die instantly. What is going on? But yeah, that's pretty much how, like, magic worked in 2nd edition. It's like, well, either you're dead or they're dead right away.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, anyway, is everyone back?
Yep.
Malon's like, shut up about this. Dragon
No, no.
Alright, so we are traveling. I guess, yeah, usually I'll say we can use survival checks. I'll take up to 2 from the group. I don't know if you want Eli to roll. I don't think he has survival. I can double check.
I think a new
I
slog.
can do a roll.
You a new slog? Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the
Help,
back of a dragon.
Help
Or,
read
sorry,
the
back of an eagle.
landmarks and, avoid danger. Although there's
Nice.
fairly reduced risk of danger from up here.
It's the other dragons.
At 25, yeah. Let me check something as you are traveling. Again, feel free to do things while I'm passing time.
I mean, I do. And when we land, I do want to have a quick side conversation with Glenn and or Uslag outside of make sure Gavrix doesn't hear this.
Okay. So, as you are flying, I'll say it's about halfway through the first day. I really wish... I need to figure out a way to do a button that I can just bring up the calendar. For some reason I keep closing it. So it's about 3 p.m. When from up high, Estrella, you spot what you think is a small, lake, but you believe there are some rare herbs growing near the edge of the lake. You're still in eagle form. I don't know if you care, but it could be something worth collecting.
Yeah, like I said, I think we've probably been stopping periodically, so I would just kind of veer downward, since I can't communicate, and land, and then start picking through the herbs.
And so Uslag is, I guess, do you have herbalism, Uslag? Well, you'd see, the eagle lands, and suddenly Estrella, I assume, takes on her normal form.
She's riding me, so I assume when I land, she hops off and sees me gathering herbs and figures out what I'm doing.
The dragon kind of sighs and he says, "Oh, we were gonna travel for longer." He comes slamming down to the ground, jostling Malin a bit as he does, just kind of dropping you. He says, "I guess we're taking a rest."
Pull out my harp and I'll play a uplifting song for herb picking for Estrella.
I would
so
squawk at the dragon in Auran, because I think in that form I speak Auran.
He looks at you, then lets out an ear-piercing roar that echoes through the plains. Almost deafening. And he says, that should scare away any trouble. Pick your plants, druid.
Or invite some more trouble to come.
Let them come!
I make a nice little pile of the I make a nice little pile of the herbs that I collect in front of Uslag, assuming she'll figure out that I want them picked up.
He says, I've spent several days in the company of people I've wished to torch. I could use a good battle. Perhaps you'll help me with that, Malin.
You want to go?
He says, not you. I said, we could do a battle against enemies. Though I don't think anything is stupid enough to stand up against a red dragon, except maybe you.
I let out a laugh, say, funny enough, I see quite a bit of myself in you. Now I can see how the group has, felt about me all this time. I let out a hearty laugh.
Give me a persuasion check. I have no idea what you're talking about. He just kind of is looking around for opponents as he sits there.
Yeah, you couldn't be any further apart. Gavrix is way prettier than you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I roll my eyes. Tell me... Oh, okay, you want to...
Says, I believe the word you were looking for, Glenn, is majestic.
Oh, yes, you are majestic as the blazing sun.
Continue your song.
Tell me one thing, though. What do you know of that ancient red dragon above the halls?
He says he is extremely powerful, a god, as all ancient dragons are. He says even the metallic dragons is foolish to to cross paths with them if one can help it. He says, the dragon ancients are our elders, some of them even living through several cataclysms, depending on their age.
Really?
He says they're
So,
not
okay.
to be trifled with.
Well, so in like the hierarchy, there's there's a metallic dragon, like above you. There's a metallic dragon and that ancient dragon.
He says, ancient dragons are above me, not metallic per se. He says, metallic dragons worship Bahamut, a false god. This is one that believes in unity and preservation. Waste of time.
Well, okay, realistically, and I'm not asking this out of, as a jibe, but how much stronger would you say this ancient dragon is compared to you?
This is the red. Oh.
Yeah.
An ancient red could take on 3 or 4 of my kind easily. He says
3
their
or
magic,
4?
strength, size, they're all massive. He says, unless a dragon gets old enough where it actually dies, most ancients are powerful for a very long time, even in their elder years. Their very elder years.
But you seem the type to who wants a challenge, who wants a real fight. Would you say so? Test your skills.
He says, I revel in destruction and decimation.
So, like absolute titanic battle above roll calls. Let's say, well, like, look, you said 3 or 4, and we'd say, let's say, if we do convince Zana, like a nice little tryst with her, a little get back together. There would be you, her, and us. We can go fight that ancient red.
Give me a persuasion.
I will use a story point. Do I have inspiration?
It would be an inspiration point, or you can re-roll if you roll poorly with a story point.
All right, I'll use the. I'll just do a regular roll. If I roll poorly, then I'll use a story point. I'm going to flash a genius that. I'm not going to use a story point, but I'll flash a genius that.
He says,
Bring in 21.
You do make some good points. He says 2 reds along with your group. That could be enough. Still
Think of that.
Still very risky though. What would the point be of killing such a magnificent dragon?
Come now. What's the point? Think of the tale, that Titanic fight. When would you ever feel such a rush of combat and risk? Come now. What we do in fight monsters of all different kinds. We are quite well.
Yeah, I was going to say,
are we in the habit of killing living things just for bragging rights?
Yes.
Are you volunteering us for a fight against an ancient red dragon?
Yes.
He says, I'm all for killing things for bragging rights, but
think of the tales we could say.
Because I don't care what humans think of me. And the other dragons, well, they might be angered that I killed one of the ancients. He says,
Well, if you think about
it, go ahead.
What greater gift to your lady love than a dragon's hoard the size of an ancient red?
Give me a persuasion with advantage. That is one thing.
We better not make any more promises to this freaking.
Glenn's picking up what I'm putting down. I love it.
He says that is one thing that would draw me, is the treasure such a god would have amassed over thousands of years. It's a hoard like none I've ever seen. He says, but still, the risk. There's a reason why he has all that treasure, and why...
You could say a hoard that size might be even more valuable than a tower.
He says, assuming that you hadn't already promised me a tower, I could have both, couldn't I?
Well, I mean, we don't want to be greedy. Well, too greedy.
I'm a red dragon. I do want to be greedy.
Well, I mean, instead of the... Because then we could give you the hoard, and with a hoard like that, you could find a much better tower that isn't flooded by gnome pests.
He says, so, as payment for helping me kill this red, I would get the horde and you would get the tower? Is that what you're offering?
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. We'd like to have part of the horde too.
That is not the deal. He says, you already offered me a tower. He says, if I am to give up such an exquisite lair, I think it's only fair I get the dragon horde.
Well,
Is this
look,
conversation
the
happening
tower.
while I'm in wild shape?
I mean, you could drop wild shape if you want to talk.
Well, I mean, like I would need to drop every 5 hours, and I can only do 2 wild shapes between short rests. So, like, I was just wondering if this conversation was happening during one of those rests or something.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's during the root picking, so you guys are kind of resting.
Oh, then I'm in bird form. Okay, yeah.
I don't know
okay.
if I mean, if you guys want to stay here and rest, that's fine. You didn't have to, but you're already spending some time getting these herbs, so it's up to you. But yeah, if you want to drop eagle form and talk, otherwise you're just.
Oh no, I'm not gonna waste the form, unless it was gonna expire soon.
All right. He says, we can figure it out. But yeah, if we were going to take such a risk, and I still think it's a bad idea, because that would, I mean, as I said, this is an ancient red dragon, but if it were to happen, I think it's only fair that if I am giving up the tower, which would probably be worth at least as much as an ancient red's horde, then I should get said horde if we defeat it.
Well, okay, look. The original deal was that you would have to go help us to take said tower. Now, I'm not saying that you didn't, but you didn't exactly fully help us. I mean, let's be honest. None of us forgot that you ran in there yourself and then booked it
Says,
within
I drew
half a
fire
combat.
from the magical attacks away from your group.
Yes, and you think that was what we had in mind for when we said to give you the full tower?
Yes.
There's still work to be done to take this tower.
The tower is
done yet.
we have not finished taking the tower, as Uslag just pointed out. And even still, I would not say that the tower does not belong to you, but we have a claim on it, somewhat of a claim as well.
Give me a persuasion.
Give me a bardic at some point. I'll see about. I mean,
He says, do you all feel this way? That the tower should be split? He kind of looks to Glenn and the rest of you.
cohabitation, more like.
Is anyone saying anything?
I have no interest in the tower after we've made use of it. That's just my take. But we don't have it yet. So you have to be patient.
Well, the thing is that Hollow Hand has control of it, even though he really shouldn't. And I don't really know how to break that. And I also like to try and stay on his good side because he seems to know a lot of information that he's not letting on, and I would like to unlock those secrets. So things have become a little complicated. So I was thinking, that reuniting with a lost love, I think is much more valuable than any old dusty tower that has an ugly, smelly gnome in it.
Give me a persuasion check. He says, you are the ones who suggested I go meet with her in the first place. I didn't realize you were doing this to gain the tower away from me.
Now, we're not trying to get the tower away from you, because it's not like we have really any desire for it. And honestly, I love a happy ending with a good love story regardless. So I would have wanted to see this happen anyway, but I also won't lie that why not use it to to my benefit.
And I'll chime in real quick. And I see no problem with cohabitation. We've had we had no issues and have had a quite a decent time in my opinion, and already. So I have no qualms about that.
I mean, trust me, I like you much more than Hollow Hands because he's kind of a dick.
He says, well, we can discuss it. I wouldn't say you are... Well, actually, give me a persuasion check. The two of you, I guess. Though I don't think Malin can really get close to him.
Oh my god.
He says that we can discuss it further. I wouldn't say you helping me gives you rights to the tower, but you are doing me a favor, and I will not forget that. He says you've...
That's all I ask. I appreciate that.
You've been an interesting group to work with. He says, I owe you for freeing me, and now I will owe you for helping me with this.
All I ask is that when the time has come to tally the final results, so to speak, that you just keep that in mind. That's all I ask for now.
He says that's something I will keep in mind. Alright, do you have your flowers yet, Druid?
Like, leaned back, like, nestled in a grassy knoll, pretending to nap, like, and roll my eyes at him like I've been waiting on him.
Uslog will tuck them into the bag of holding with the rest of the components.
Yeah, I put in chat how much you got.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Who's logging things today?
Well, it's just whoever takes it. There's no quartermaster anymore.
Okay.
So
you would do that.
if you're putting it in the bag of holding, whoever has the bag of holding would record it.
Oh, okay. I will do that then.
Thank you. If I wasn't in wild shape, I would just put them in her.
I
Yeah.
really have to figure things out, but I'll figure it out.
And he says, all right.
I took off the filters because
There's probably already a line for that, right? I don't have to figure out how to do an extra line. Okay. I'll figure it out.
So you would
there isn't.
fly
There isn't.
for the rest of the day. You make pretty good time with Uslog reading the waypoints of the landscape. Now, it's the end of the first day. You said you wanted to speak with someone privately.
Well, that we had the conversation I wanted to have privately,
Oh,
so we're good. We're
Gotcha.
good.
All right. So you will continue traveling. All right. So let's see. We'll pass that day. It's now the 45th.
So we've been traveling one. Did we start traveling yesterday, or is it another day past that?
You started traveling this morning.
Okay, so we're still the first day.
So now it's the 45th. I'll say Uslog could have fed you because she has survival, and so does Malin. So you don't have to worry about food.
Yeah, I
That's
actually have the Outlander thing.
Yeah,
So
and just with basic survival, you can feed some people. All right, so pay your camp. Okay. Another day of travel. This day passes without any issues, just flying above the plains. You would reach the mountains. Did I close my calendar again? Oh, damn it. Hang on. You reach the mountains around 6 o'clock in the evening on the 45th. So it's actually like a day and a half or so. As Gavrix comes to a kind of stop and lands, he says, I think at this point we might want to go separate ways. He says, I know your people have a way of tracking, and it's not something I have any skill in, at least not the way you do it. But I was thinking I could fly around the mountains looking for signs of, as I said, her hunting, or maybe a lair. while you also check around the mountains using whatever abilities you have.
All right, sounds like a plan, I guess.
I mean, obviously, we'll inform. Should we check back in at the end of the day and inform each other whatever we find?
He nods. He says, I'm just going to fly north and look for any signs of her passing. You all... Well, I guess the druid can fly as well, but I'm not sure what the rest of you are going to do. Alright, so he's going to take off. Unless anyone is saying anything. And you... If you're going to... I guess survival would be the skill you'd use to do this.
For tracking?
Yeah, there is an argument for perception as well. So I'll take... are you staying together or are you splitting up?
What do you mean? Like our entire group splitting up, or?
Yeah, as a group. Are you staying together and kind of searching together, or are you like splitting up and going to different places?
I mean, we don't have. I don't think we have a mental bond to communicate with each other.
Yeah, I think
We
we
find
should stay
something.
at least
So-
within sight of each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're staying together. So yeah, I'll take up to 2 rolls from the group, survival or perception.
Are we looking for like sight perception or?
It
type
could be...
of perception
it's going to be sight-based, yeah. 'cause
Okay,
you're looking
so
for
I would-
things.
I mean, if anyone has anything better than a +5,
Oh, you have scent, don't you?
me?
Yeah, what is it? You have scent.
Yeah, I have advantage on that, but
You could probably do... Well, she already rolled, but I would say, like...
yeah,
you could
that's
probably do
much
scent.
better. No, yeah. If she has 9 perception, yeah, she should go for that.
Alright. So you are kind of moving around the mountain areas, searching for any signs of passage you can find. A dragon is usually pretty obvious.
I could also use some spell slots to cast conjure animals and possibly get some mounts for the others for short periods of time. Like, I don't know if that would help our looking around, but I also know it's random, so yeah.
Alright. So yeah, you're, I assume, kind of flying above, keeping an eye out as Uslog is looking around down below, and everyone else is just kind of defending the group as they move.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Alright, give me another survival check, Uslog.
Okay.
15. So as you're looking around, you do find an area of the mountain where there are, looks like very large tracks. It looks like there was some sort of scuffle here, and something very large attacked something much smaller, and then may have lifted off, possibly carrying whatever it was away.
Well, that looks like what we're looking for.
Yeah. I would point that out for sure.
Is there any blood?
Knowledge
Take a closer look.
nature. Yeah, knowledge nature might tell you more. If anyone has it.
Okay. I have that, but other people are probably better.
No,
Anyone can make this check, although being trained will get you more info.
I'm not as brainy as
Oh,
anyone
anyone
else.
can we could just all roll.
Well, anyone who has knowledge nature. This would require proficiency, or jack of all trades.
Let's see. Eli is not trained, but he has a +5.
Australia seems to have a good idea.
So yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like there's judging by some of the wilted plant life around here, you would guess necrotic energy was used in this fight. So you're almost positive this was some sort of shadow dragon.
Yeah. So I would share that. If I'm in human form, I would share that. Otherwise, I would like nudge at it, like point it out, like
Yeah.
point to my nose
Sure. And
repeatedly
I'll
until they
say
come check out the
Eli
area.
will say, yes, this is this is necrotic energy. You can tell by the withered grass. Something very powerful struck this area. She says, good eye, Estrella. Says, yes, this must be the dragon.
We have to be somewhere close then.
Uslag, do you know how long ago this happened?
I can
Yeah, it would be a
try
survival
to figure
check.
that out. Yeah. See how the wind has eroded it, and yeah, if it's rained in the last day or two. Yeah, it's hard to tell. 14.
You would guess it's between 2 and 3 days old. So not that recent.
Yeah, not recent. Dragons fly fast.
As well, at least we know we're looking in the right place. I don't think there's anything else that big that would use
What do you think she would
necrotic
be
energy.
scuffling with around here?
Probably some unfortunate creature, since she made a meal of.
Fair enough.
That'd be my
Everybody
guess
got eat.
anyway, Eli says. He says, do you know which way she flew after the kill?
That might be more of a survival thing, right?
Yeah, so that would be a survival check, DC 20.
Can I also try to roll?
Yeah, anyone can make the roll. Anyone with training.
I have no clue.
Scratching your head.
There we go.
Ooh, nice.
So judging by the way the feet are kind of pointed and where it's like sunk in, you think she leapt and flew north of here.
Okay.
I'll say Estrella. At this point, you notice something interesting. You didn't think much of it before, but the group seems to have a couple of birds following it. You've noticed 2 birds with your perception. And I'll say Glenn may have noticed this as well.
Pretty high up, or are they close?
Glenn, what's your passive investigation?
Let's see, pass.
I noticed you didn't have it in your name there.
Should I? I have my passive. It should be the.
Yeah, it's usually the third number is your passive investigation.
Oh, I didn't realize. It should be 12 because I have +2.
12. Alright. So yeah, it's a little bit odd, as I said. These, almost like maybe familiars or something. Like they've been following you. Because you've seen them a couple of times. You haven't seen them actually following you, but the birds look very similar to ones that you've kind of seen near you as you've traveled.
I'm going to use my universal speech feature to try and talk to the bird.
So they're kind of perched up on the, I'll say on like a tree nearby. They're not close to you. But it does seem like they're just kind of hanging out.
I'll kind of approach the tree and I'll close my eyes and kind of channel for my universal speech. And I'll open my mouth and make it so that they understand what I'm saying. And I just call out, "Hello there. Are you a familiar?"
Can you link universal speech?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it looks at you and goes tweet, 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 tweet. The other one does as well. They both kind of tweet back at you as you say this.
I say, "Okay. Unfortunately, I cannot understand bird. Are you a familiar? 2 tweets for yes, 1 tweet for no."
For 1 hour. So they just kind of look at each other and kind of prance about and just start tweeting again. Like, not necessarily with 1 or 2 tweets, like they're just singing. You think, Actually, I'll say Estrella and Glenn, again, both with the high insight. You don't necessarily believe these are just birds by the way they're acting.
Okay. I call out. Can you take us to your master?
They just keep tweeting and kind of dancing around. Like they're... You almost feel like... Well, you could be wrong on this. Like, maybe these are just birds, but they're more... You almost think they're just acting like birds to try to, like, ignore you or throw you off the scent. Something about these
It
birds.
doesn't seem to be working.
He just kind of narrows his eyes. I know you're not regular birds. I know you can understand me, and I'm going to eat you if you don't respond.
Give me an intimidation.
Intimidating bird.
Don't familiars just go poof if you kill them? I don't think
Yeah.
you can eat them.
No. So the birds just keep kind of tweeting and dancing around. Tweet, 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 tweet.
Okay, look. How about if you help me, I'll give you some food.
Give me a persuasion. 25. So as you're doing this, another couple of birds fly in and land on another tree nearby. And they're just kind of tweeting and hanging out now as well. There's now 4 of them total.
So we've got food enough for all of you birds if you help us and bring us to your master.
Tweet, 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 tweet. They're all just kind of hanging out. Although you know they understand you. Because, you know, you're using universal speech. But they're just... Your guess is that they don't know you're doing this, and they're just acting like they don't know what you're talking about.
I'm using magic to make my speech known to you, so I know you can understand what I'm saying. You're not going to trick me.
Alright, so it will stare at you for a moment and just go tweet, tweet, and the other one goes tweet, 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 tweet. And then you see another 2 birds land on a nearby tree. There's now 6 of them. What do you want to do? Eli says, "Are you sure those aren't just birds?"
He takes out some rations and he opens a ration and he sets it down on the ground and he steps away. And he watches to see if the birds flock to it.
So the birds kind of watch you for a moment. And as they look at you, look at the ration, they sort of get distracted suddenly as you see an eagle kind of flying overhead, moving towards the area. It is kind of descending in the direction of the group, which is kind of odd for an eagle. Do you want to do anything?
How big?
It's an eagle, just like a normal eagle.
It's regular. Okay.
Yeah, it's also kind of odd that it would be approaching when Estrella is a giant eagle, which could be a predator to a normal eagle. And actually,
That
it's
might
kind of
be-
odd these birds are still here because she's a giant eagle.
We've got another druid incoming.
Yep. All right.
Wait,
Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of dodge a little bit, you know, gonna get a defensive
Yeah,
position, but
so you're like,
I'm
oh,
doing
Uslug,
I'm
get
not
your
like-
axe ready. Druids are dicks. No offense.
well,
Estrella.
hold on. I've had good luck with druids so far. Let's just
So as the eagle
see.
gets closer, it comes flying in for a landing and immediately will shapeshift.
Please be Fedloy. Please be.
yeah. There's a couple druids. I mean, we met another druid recently
You
too.
got-
Didn't
He
we?
says, Uslog, it's good to see you in the mountains again. He says, where are
Good
the
to
others?
see you too. Which druid am I speaking with?
He says, you don't remember me? It's Raven.
Oh, there. Oh, okay. I wasn't looking at the
He
screen.
says,
Yeah. I remember this one.
he says, we met a while ago near Fort Grimdor.
Yeah, you met a few of us there.
He says, I don't recognize your friends, though. Seems one of them is a druid as well, kind of looking out towards the
You
giant
would
eagle.
not recognize Malin, I think you met.
No, actually, no, I think this was before Malin. Wasn't it?
Oh. Do you remember the druid we met like outside of the when we were
Was he with
yeah,
you for
because he
Fort
spoke with
Grimdor?
he was shapeshifted as like this moose or something.
Oh, right.
I'm starting to remember now. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's right, because you met Malin
A
before
mammoth.
Fort Grimdor. He was
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
the
Fire
frost
giants.
giants and frost giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says, "Oh, that's right. You're the Warforged." He says, "It's good to see you again as well."
Well met again, friend.
He says, "For those who haven't met me, I am Druid Ravenclaw, Archdruid of the Northern Mountains."
Fortuitous that we have met you.
He says, "Yes, and actually, I wasn't sure what to make of you when I heard about you coming in with a red dragon. But now that I see it's Uslog, I know there must be a good explanation for why this and possibly that new shadow dragon is in our domain. Perhaps you could share."
It's
We're
a
here
little
to find the
complicated.
Shadow Dragon.
Yep. And hopefully we can bring her home to a different place. But right now we are just hoping to find her.
She's been very disruptive to the mountain terrain that I watch over. He says, I share territory with some dragons, but we don't really have the resources for so many new ones to be showing up. Why are they here?
What other dragons?
He says, well, there's the Ancient Red. There's
Right.
Some small greens within the forest below. There's a younger dragon who's taken up residence. A brass near the desert. I've given him leeway since he seems to be more respective of my laws and territory.
Interesting.
He says, but whenever dragons come, it can be, well, they tend to throw things out of balance, especially reds, as they are quite chaotic and dangerous. He says, if I was planning to try to run these dragons out or kill them, if it were possible, but I saw, or at least I was told by some of my people, that you were traveling with one of them.
Yes, fear not, friend. We are going to attempt to rectify this situation.
He says, so you do intend to convince them to leave. They're not to stay here.
Oh yeah, certainly not. Both the certainly this the red dragon currently with us will try to pick up and move with the current Shadow Dragon who has come to your land. And as for the ancient one, that is also in due time.
He says, and what of you, sister? What grove are you from? Looking to Estrella.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she could try to say something in Orin.
So what are you saying to him in Orin?
I have never stuck to a single grove, but have wandered many plains in my time.
He says, you speak the language of the elementals. Having taken their form...
Okay, so let me just clarify. I'm assuming that's the only thing I can speak in that form, because that's the only thing that giant eagles can speak, but I don't know if that applies in wild shape or not.
Do you know Orin?
She doesn't... Well, let me just double check.
If you have Orin, then yes, you can speak Orin and Giant Eagle, but if you don't know how to speak Orin, then you wouldn't just gain that knowledge.
Okay, alright. So let me just check here. She might have Primordial. Wait, that's not never mind. I was thinking of... Yeah, okay, never mind. No, she does not speak Orin, so never mind. She just squawks.
She just kind of squawks. He says, that's alright. Save your wild form, if that's what you're doing. As I said, I just wanted to get more information on why there are dragons in my territory. But if you tell me that your plan is to have them leave, I trust you.
Indeed.
We really hope. Yeah.
He says, do you need any help to make this happen quicker, or do you have a plan?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you could point us where the Shadow Dragon is currently residing, we're going to be in a fantastic shape.
Yeah, but
This is-
we have I think we have history with this dragon, so
Oh.
might be a little.
He
Very
says,
reasonable.
Are you
Yeah.
allies with red dragons and shadow dragons?
Well, that bozo, I mean, was from Robocalls. I mean, I beat him up, and then we liberated him, and then, this Shadow Dragon, very respectful one, really kind and nice, and has on good relations with Uslog, I believe.
Yeah, she was, Isaac. Yeah. So she was instrumental in helping us lift.
So sounds like
The evil from the
Empire
place.
affairs to me.
Yeah.
But give me a persuasion, the two of you. He says, well, as I said, I trust that you know what you're doing, and you have done some good things in the mountains for allies of mine, so I guess I can help you with this.
Much
Says,
appreciated.
I do know where the dragon's lair is. We've been keeping a close eye on it. It's been very detrimental to the environment, as I've said, as it has to eat so much. And well, with it, and now the arrival of this red, I feared the worst. But if you're ready, I can take you there. It's only a couple of hours north through the mountains.
Is there... Sure. I turn to the group. Is there any way we can get Gavrex, contact him?
Gavrex?
Anyone?
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
that's the
talking to
red.
group?
I let out an
But-
extremely loud eagle shriek that will bounce around the mountains nearby for a mile or two.
All right, the birds up in the tree kind of freak out a little.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get our red here, and we'll go immediately to her. No dawdling.
So he nods and waits. No, you don't get. You don't have the red show up anytime soon. As you're waiting, it might still be flying north, but it did say it would come back in the evening.
Okay.
Okay,
Which
so I mean,
actually,
I
it is
tell.
pretty late. It's probably about 8 o'clock because you got
Oh,
there.
dang.
You got there in the
Oh, he's-
evening of that day. Remember, so you've only been. It's probably been about 2 hours of searching through the mountains. But he'll say, "All right, well." He looks to one of the birds in the tree. He says, "Stay with them for now, and we'll come find you later. Where's your camp at?"
We'd set up camp. I mean, I think it's actually fine if we just start, heading toward the lair.
Right now? All right. And the birds will fly down, each dropping shape, and there are now 6 other druids there with him.
Oh.
And he says, for now, let's go on foot. Says it's a little bit... Well, actually... No, I guess he'll say, all right, can you all fly, or shall we go on foot?
I don't think I can carry more than one. My strength is only 16.
Yeah, you probably couldn't do more than one. He says, all right, yeah, so he'll snap his fingers in motion, and all the druids will come down, and I'll say one of them stays in bird form, but the others are now in their normal forms. And one of the guys looks to Glenn. He says, sorry, it's just I was watching. I was told not to intervene till Ravenclaw got here.
I understand.
Alright, so the group is traveling north through the mountains. Ravenclaw is kind of navigating. He seems to know these lands really well. He says it's probably going to be about 10 o'clock when we get there, so it'll be pretty dark. We might want to just set camp and go once light is out. The mountains at night can be dangerous.
Sure. I mean, we're waiting for our red to come back to us. So
He nods. He says, hopefully the campfire will draw him in the darkness.
Mhm.
He says, I don't think we have to worry about the wyverns or anything like that. They'll probably avoid a group this big.
sounds good.
Alright, so time is passing.
So, Glenn, do you have a history with druids? Is that because of what you said before? Makes me think. You have some history.
Glenn.
Go on.
Crickets. Did you? Oh, never mind.
Oh, I think you responded, right?
I was just curious.
Oh, what? Sorry, I must have.
Just taking it out.
Oh, I asked if you had history with druids because you said druids.
Oh,
were
well, I just, I kind of like looks over to Astray. I was like, I don't want to, badmouth druids when we got one with us.
And
But
Ravenclaw will look over as well and say, badmouth druids. He says, what have druids done to you?
it's not what druids have done; it's what druids haven't done.
Oh?
And by that, I mean they do nothing.
He says, well, I wouldn't call the preservation of Gaia nothing. He says, we're pretty busy out here in the wilds while you all make up fake nations to quabble over your gold and whatever else is of interest to the nobles these days. He says, some of us have to preserve nature and the world as a whole.
Yes, I preserve nature every day by not stepping on flowers.
He says,
I'm just like a druid.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, friend.
I'm just saying that.
And you're in human form by now, Estrella.
Oh, okay.
Whenever there's something that needs to be done, there's always a druid that says, "Oh no, it's not the right time. Balance of nature, blah blah blah." Well, when is the right time? Oh, when nature tells us. Well, when is that? Well, we don't know. It's when nature tells us. Well, fuck you, buddy.
He says, it sounds like you have a very specific example of a druid you disagreed with.
It's just that a lot of druids fall prey to inaction and old traditions and are resting on their laurels.
In my experience, the heavenly celestial movements have a lot more to tell us than the simple cycles of the seasons here on the land. But then again, I haven't spent too much time here on Gaian, and I may not know all the signs.
He says, oh, you are not of this world.
I think perhaps I might have originally been, but I've spent very little time here.
This is how fascinating. I've never met a druid not of Gaian. I didn't think there even was such a thing. Do you have groves or an archdruid where you're from?
Not exactly. You see, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to pull up my shit.
He says it's fascinating. A druid's powers are generally connected to the land and Gaian itself. I've never heard of a druid drawing powers from another world, or what type of powers that would even give someone.
Well, I was a very curious youth, and I went wandering, and in time came to know Celestian, the Seven Spells, the Star Wanderer, and I came to appreciate the power of astral bodies and movements of stars and all there is to know from these majestic
Says-
things.
You're a planeswalker? I guess you have to be if you
It
were
doesn't
from
come
another
easily
world.
to me, but I have, of course, traversed the planes. I don't personally move between them easily on my own power.
Says, tell me, are you familiar with the Feywild?
I did not write out of character. I don't know.
Out of character, it's up to you.
I'd like to think she actually might have visited there at some point.
He says, I asked because the Southern Druid has told me of a great corruption that has occurred there. The Feywild is supposedly experiencing void energies corrupting it, dark shadows. I don't know what she is doing about it, but I know that they are working with members of the Fey courts to try to alleviate the issue.
Oh,
Oh,
you
that's-
don't know
and
what
that-
they're doing
I-
to fix it. You don't know what they're doing to fix it, huh? What a coincidence.
I immediately perk up. Void energy, you say? Now that's we haven't seen that since that void giant we ran into.
He says, listen, Glenn, I'm weeks travel from the swamps of the south. What would you have me do? Fly back and forth to keep up with what's going on the other side of the continent?
I don't know, do you have spells that you can travel through trees, like go through great distance? I mean, why are you flying?
He says,
Hold up.
I thought you were an archdruid. Are you not that powerful?
Shush, Glenn. Okay, hold up.
He
Seriously.
says, yes, you obviously are an ally to a druid if you know about that.
Hold
Fair
up.
enough.
That pedestal. You remember? I forgot. Did Ravenclaw see that pedestal where the frost giants were doing
No,
the spells? And that's where
that was a long time before. Well, he met you a long time before that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking if like
there
every
was
time.
another being that we encountered there at that pedestal.
Void.
He says, my first responsibility as Archdruid is to my territories, which are the mountains. I do my best to keep those in balance. For
Now,
the
avoid
people
the
as
energy
well
is
as the
interesting.
animals and the environments here.
What
I
makes?
It looks like nature's doing a pretty good job on its own without you.
Give me a persuasion or intimidation. Well, I guess persuasion.
From who?
From you.
Oh, I'm not trying to persuade him of anything. I'm just shit talking.
Yeah. See how he takes it.
Oh, okay, all right.
There isn't really. It should be called diplomacy. I like the bear in 3rd edition where it's just called diplomacy. I don't like that they changed it to persuasion. But yeah, it's more just to see how he takes your shit talking. Are you trying to be like antagonistic?
I mean,
I'm just trying. I'm trying to be.
He's normally got a honeyed tongue and like trying to befriend everyone we meet, and now he's like,
Apparently, we're learning
like,
something
yeah.
about Glenn here.
He
Held
does
his
not
tongue with
wanna-
you, but now he's met an archdruid.
Well, no, because if you remember, as soon as she came in, I was like, "Strange lady attack."
Yeah. Well, you didn't know she was
well,
a druid.
you didn't
till
know
later.
that was specific to her druidry look or druidic
Yeah.
symbols or whatever.
He says, "Listen, Glenn, I can tell that you are not a fan of druids for whatever reason, and that's fine. But I am telling you, my people do what they can to keep balance within the world, at least within the world that I am tasked to guard."
It's not all druids. I just think a lot of druids really over hype how important they are and how when it comes down to it, they really just don't do anything.
Right, and
Like-
bards never overhype themselves at all, right?
That is in our job description. You see, the circle. I've met druids that I agree with. Like I very much agree with the circle of wildflower druids I've met. It's not. Sometimes
They're quite unpredictable and destructive. It is interesting that would be the circle you select to agree with.
Because it's not because every druid I meet wants to preserve everything no matter what. But
there is value in a purging fire, Ravenclaw says.
Exactly.
Sure.
And some druids get too high on preserving nature and forget that part of nature is survival of the fittest. And sometimes the weak must be cold so the strong can survive.
Well, we preserve the balance. He says the cycle. Nature is a continuously dying and regrowing environment. He says that is why our brothers who are masters of the flame, the wildfire druids as you call them, are an important part of the balance. He says as fire, purging and regrowth are an important part of the balance. He says it's just when unchecked, fire can do too much damage, which will threaten the cycle. He says
I let out I try to disguise it as a cough, but I'm like a chuckle because Surtur is literally told me to go burn everything in my sight.
It's true. Yeah, you are definitely not worshiping a god that any of them would like. Show me destruction.
Well, this news of the Feywilds is quite intriguing. Actually, I did spend some time there in my youth and have some contacts there. It has been many years for me on the plains I've traveled, but perhaps there it has seemed but a moment, and they might still remember me. I know not. But they were a most frivolous people overall, the residents there, and to hear that there might be some darkness spreading there is
he says, well, what of
rather concerning.
What of the plains you've walked? I'm not sure where you've been, but those worlds, have you noticed any strange void energies within them?
Well, most recently, I have spent a great deal of time on the astral plane, and as you know, of course, I'm sure, the time passes quite differently there. I mean, it passes differently in the Feywild as well, but you see, in my estimation, I have been on the astral plane for some centuries, and so I'm a little bit out of touch with the other planes that I walked when I was younger. But yes, I've visited a handful.
I will be honest, I've never actually left Gaian. It's scared me to think of not being in contact with the mountains and the soil of my world. I worry how it will diminish my abilities. The southern druids have been more looking into that. He looks to Glenn and says, go ahead, say it. I know you want to.
The green and growing things of Gaian are quite extraordinary in their own way, but they do not compare to the heavenly bodies that soar above all the planes that I have visited.
Says, I can only imagine. Does it affect your shape-shifting or magical abilities at all? Being from the stars?
Yes, I'm a bit ethereal, as in the way that clouds and mists are. I am somewhat disconnected from the material when I am using my primal abilities.
I see. He says, well,
I need not the connection to the land that druids of this plane tend to thrive with.
Nods. He says, well, if you do encounter anything strange like that, I'd be very interested to know in the future. As always, Uslag, Malin, you have quite the fascinating travelers with you.
Well, since you have such a plethora of skilled druids working with you, perhaps you would wish to appoint some member or representative that would wish to travel with us? This would perhaps facilitate our working together or sharing communications as both of us learn more in our travels and goings on.
Give me a persuasion check.
I'm pretty sure Glenn's not going to help me with this one.
Nope.
Oh no! Wait, you know what? I'm gonna story point.
He really wants.
I want my druid buddy. Druid.
Gosh, it's druid buddy.
He thinks. He says,
Can I try and persuade him not to?
Sure, what are you gonna say?
Of course, he's gonna roll better.
Say, I mean, didn't you say how important it was for all the druids to be working to, maintain all this sort of balance? I mean, you're really kind of proving me right that you guys don't do jack shit if you can spare a druid to come with you.
And he says, well, I mean, if she is moving through the plains and there's chaos to be found, then having someone who can get in touch with me might be valuable.
I mean, would it though? I mean, honestly, how do you know she's not just a crazy old lady?
He says she is definitely a little crazy, but I kind of like that.
Oh.
Oh,
You're kind of a freak.
I mean, he's a druid.
We all know how they get down.
We've all played Baldur's Gate 3.
Exactly.
We know how the druids are. So he'll kind of look at Glenn, look at Estrella, and say, "What do the rest of you think? Would one of my members help you by journeying with you? Would that be of value?"
I would most appreciate any additional druidic knowledge, especially the ability to have a traveling companion that could compare. She kind of launches into more of like how she would gain knowledge and pick the brain of whomever was traveling with her. And yeah,
I look at Uslag and like, I mean, I'm worried about armor. Fine. I really don't have a side on this argument.
I think having a druid in our camp could come in handy.
He says, "I
They
do
wouldn't
have
be traveling with us constantly, but
I do have a younger druid who is looking to prove his mettle and has been bugging me, or has been bugging his grove incessantly about traveling. A bit of a wanderlust. He really wants to see the other environments of Gaian, the desert druids, the swamp druids. Perhaps it would do him good to travel with your group a bit." He says, "You do think you could, you can protect him, I assume."
I mean, I don't think so. One of our members just literally got disintegrated by a disintegration ray the other day. We're still mourning them.
don't you want to give a druid a chance to actually make a difference and do something?
He says,
I shoot Glenn like a weird look.
disintegrated. He says,
Yeah, literally a disintegration ray. They were turned to dust. We didn't even. All we could bury was a pile of dust. Is that what you want for your young druid?
He says, "No."
I look at Glenn like, what are you doing, bro?
He says, "That does sound quite dangerous. I don't know if you think you'd be in that much danger. Maybe I should."
Uslag.
Okay, now that
Uslag, in the months that you have traveled with these and other companions that preceded them, how many of you have fallen, and how many dangerous situations have you survived and aided others?
That is a long way back that I have to think. You mean more recently?
In general, of course, there is risk anytime you go up against forces of evil or things that you are worth fighting for. But in general, with all that you have done, all of you have been telling me these amazing stories, and I want to know more. I have questions. I want more. I want more stories. But from what I've heard so far, blah blah blah. You get what I'm saying.
And many of those stories we've barely escaped by the skin of our teeth, thanks to my amazing magic.
But you escaped.
But none of our hirelings have ever really been put in direct danger.
Also, may I point out that Uslag has been part of this party from the beginning, from what I understand. So she is the common denominator, not you, Glenn.
Yes, and she's died.
I don't know if I knew that.
He says,
but
"Well,
I've come back.
It's not something you have to decide now, but it's up to your group. I mean, the young lad wants to travel. I realize there's always danger involved in such things, but if you think he could be of use to your group, I would be happy to have him come your way. He does have potion crafting abilities, so that could be of use.
Well, there you go, Glenn.
I do think
Okay,
it could
well,
be useful, and
Potions at least.
we could avoid putting him in danger, and he wouldn't have to be with us at all times. He could hang out in camp with Slovik.
I mean, we have how much gold bars do we have? We could buy a potion.
You could buy uncommon potions, but you don't even with your
Now I
gold
think
stores
Glenn's
that I've had a
trolling.
glimpse at, you can't be buying the more rare potions.
Fine, if the little boy wonder wants to come, he can come.
I was once a little girl wanderer.
Now you get to see a druid actually.
He is
get up and do
19.
something.
He is a young human. Lost his family a while ago. We found him and raised him. He's one of the few humans in my groves. Most of our people are dwarves or gnomes.
So you just stole a baby?
He says, no, his parents were killed.
And instead of like taking him for other humans to raise, you just stole him and raised him as a druid.
He says, I'm sorry. Perhaps I should have just dropped him into Zorik and hoped someone picked him up.
What is the difference between one human raising them or taking them to another human to raise? Why is this different?
I can't believe I'm playing the Peacemaker because the guys.
He would have been among his own people instead of a bunch of weird druids.
Eli whispers, I think Glenn's drunk.
Wait, is Ravenclaw not a human?
No, he's a dwarf.
Dwarf, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm sorry. Okay.
Guys,
See that lovely beard?
Well, okay, humans can. My husband has that beard.
All right, fair enough. Maybe your
You
husband's a
almost
dwarf
have
too.
that beard, Luke.
That's true, I do. I could be a dwarf. A very, very tall dwarf. All right, continue, sorry.
well, I'm like, guys, I can't believe I'm supposed to be the Peacemaker, but it really isn't that deep. It really isn't. Like, we've had much more pressing conversations, and we have not spent this much time on any of them.
I've just never seen Glenn spit this much venom.
Yeah. I was surprised too.
Finding out about
he's trying to make friends with people that I absolutely did not want to befriend. What the other druid?
Classist.
All the birds that became humanoids. Like, were they dwarfs, or are they like a jumble of people?
They were mostly dwarfs. One of them was a gnome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, fuck all of you bird druids for ignoring me.
The guy says, "Hey man,
That's
look,
what
I
this is
already
all
said
about."
I'm sorry, and you said it was okay. Now you're saying you're mad at me? Come on."
Fine.
Had his feathers ruffled.
I mean, did you really think I didn't?
Eli comes over. He's like, "All right, I
told
think
you.
I think you've had enough." As he's taking the wine bottle away.
I was using magic to tell you I could understand.
It's okay, Glenn. Why don't you go to bed?
Fucking druids, man.
Alright. So, Glenn goes to bed. We'll pass part of the evening.
No,
Gotta
Gavrix.
be more to that.
At about...
Yeah.
I'm going to roll something.
Druids trying to kill Glenn in his sleep.
Wait, what?
All the druids try and kill Glenn in his sleep.
They're like, nah, that guy's drunk. Sleeping off. So around, I'll say 10 o'clock, you would hear something large flying through the air. You can't really see too well. Well, what's the longest you can see with dark vision? I assume 60 feet.
Yeah.
60.
So yeah, something you think pretty far above you is flapping some leathery wings.
Do we have the fire going?
Yeah, it's you haven't gone to bed yet because it's still only 10. But
Yeah,
I mean,
you're the first to hear it, Glenn and Estrella, and then you definitely think it's getting closer.
I also had advantage of that, so I would have heard it.
Okay.
I'll just jump up and I will yell out as loud as I can, Xana!
Oh, do we think? Oh,
Has Gavrix joined us?
Well,
No, I
we don't
was
know who that
thinking
is.
Gabrick, yeah. It might even
yeah.
be the ancient.
Could be either one.
Yeah. I'll say Ravenclaw says we don't know what it is.
Well, we're about to find out.
I start flying up. I'm just like, all right, I'll just check it out.
So
I let out I just start flying up.
as you're about to start flying, you hear it getting closer very quick as a shadow kind of appears at the edge of your vision, swooping downward. A moment later, the dragon comes crashing down, landing kind of on the rocks near you. A large, shadowy creature. And it says, how do you know me, human? And then it
Oh.
says, Uslag?
Aw.
And it smiles.
Santa.
It says, how have you been, my friend?
Xanthanor. Sorry.
Xana is fine. You are a friend to me. But if you wish to call me Xanthanor, this is acceptable as well. And she kind of walks over towards the group. He says, your friends have changed since last we've spoken.
Yeah, she would introduce everybody. This is Gwen, Estrella.
I've heard much about you.
Malin, Eli.
I give a respectful bow. Well met.
Yes, Usak has told us many stories about you and her time in Isik. It's nice to meet you finally.
Oh, it is most my honor to meet. You are quite. Oh, you are. You are fabulous.
Says,
There is
thank you.
firelight, right?
Yeah, the camp. The campfires are burning and there's starlight. So you kind of, but it's almost like the light kind of dissipates when it touches her, almost some kind of magical effect from her
It
shadowy
actually.
body.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
kind of looks
I
like
mean-
the picture in the thing I linked.
Cool.
We bring good news for you, Xana.
She says,
Hopefully.
well,
Hopefully.
that is good to hear, person I am not familiar with. I'm sorry, what is your name?
He would bow. Glenn Whisperwind, professional bard and spy at your service.
Well, met. And what of these others?
Oh, yeah, I would have introduced them all by name, but
Uh-huh.
if they want to say more about themselves, I'll.
So you introduce everyone. He nods
Yeah.
and says, well, what is this information you have for me? Obviously, if you're seeking me here, you probably know what happened in Isik.
Yes, very unfortunate to hear what happened, but hopefully this news will make up for it. Hopefully you find it as good news. We met someone that you know, an old friend who has come to reconnect with you from your time before becoming a shadow dragon.
I rib like Ravenclaw as he's saying this, and lean back, say, "All right, watch this guy cook."
He just smiles. Who would this be?
None other. We, in our escapades into the fire giants, helped rescue a great red dragon, none other than Gavrix.
Give me a persuasion. At disadvantage.
Oh, shit.
So you sense unease as you say that. She says, Gavrix, why would you bring him here?
Because upon talking with him, I could tell, or at least I could glean the type of relationship you two had. And he misses you.
She says that was...
He knows...
And she will start to shrink down now.
He knows what you have become, but he still misses you, and he wanted to see you again. Once we mentioned you, he was very intent
That was a long time ago, she says, interrupting. Now a tall, statuesque shadow elf. She says, I was a different person, a different creature. I do not wish to speak to him again. It would just cause problems.
What problems? What problems that cannot be reconciled?
She says, did you ever think to ask me before bringing him before me? Maybe I don't want to see him again. He says he was...
I don't...
It was a long time ago.
That's fair.
Because you don't have to.
I'm gonna
right
like
now.
I don't believe that's true.
Give me another persuasion at disadvantage.
Our bard is trying to gaslight a dragon.
You don't know. Oh wow.
Oh, let's go.
So she pauses.
prevails.
She pauses a second. What did you say? Vote for Glenn?
Love prevails.
Love prevails. Actually, we are a little bit over here. Let's preserve that 32 and do MVP votes. We can pick this up next week.
It was finally getting good, but we spent too much time yelling at him.
Man.
Look, I don't tell you guys what to spend time on. I just go with what you
You
guys
spent too much time.
You just
No one
I go with what you guys
expected-
throw
You
at
learned
me.
something
Glenn
new about
wanted to be
Glenn.
classist against
Yeah.
druids for half an hour. I don't know.
Yeah. No one expected Glenn to like not try to recruit people for the first time ever.
Glenn's like,
We
"And
had to- we
I
had
also
to do
hate
that."
gnomes. Don't ask me why.
Just,
They're small
just-
people. They're creepy. I don't like them. Keep them away
There's
from me.
one campaign we came across these druids that were just total dicks, and it's just been like a funny character thing I've made into all my
I just hate druids.
characters. That like all my characters hate druids.
No, you're fine. I've written classist traits into some of my characters. Not all of them have like come into play, but like I've had like there's reasons. But, like yeah.
Yeah, and obviously I don't play
Or
that when
racist
like a
traits for
player
that.
character plays a druid. But like if I meet an NPC druid, I'm like fucking druid.
Well, and I've played many druids because it is my favorite class, and I intentionally tried to make Estrella like a little bit removed. Like she is a druid, but she's kind of, her head is in the clouds. She's all about just finding, like learning and traveling and seeing, and like she'll latch on to certain like goals and she'll try to do good, but she would very easily be distracted by like a new place or new knowledge or something,
So it's kind of a split vote, but Uslog, you pull out with 2 votes. Congrats.
Okay.
You got the
Nice.
win. Yeah, I just go with what you guys wanna riff on.
That 32 still counts though, right?
Yeah, just remind me that you rolled it next week, but I should still see
Okay.
it there.
Yeah, we could even
If
like
you don't
put
remind me, I might forget.
in
so you
chat
definitely
like
wanna-
persuasion check for
Sure.
Yeah, leave yourself notes. I whisper
Love
notes to myself at the end of
prevails.
sessions sometimes, especially when we end in combat and I'm not even gonna remember what's going on.
32 persuasion check for gaslighting a dragon.
Yeah.
You don't mean
Look,
that. Don't you tell me.
You know what? She's just trying to protect herself from heartache. That's what I think. That's why I'm like, I don't believe you mean that. I believe you really want to be with him again.
It's like a
Yeah,
dragon rom-com.
We've only got one side.
Yeah.
We've only got one side of the story. So you trying to tell her that she should want to like oh, that's not really what you believe. You want to see him again. Like is kind of gaslighty.
Don't you tell
It'd be
Lee?
funny.
Gabriel was also a little bit reluctant to come see her.
It'd be funny.
That's
She's
true,
like,
he
actually,
was.
he beat the crap out of
And it just
her.
gets
Like,
fun.
oh shit, never mind.
Gavrek, you murdered people by the thousands, but you can't.
Actually, that
beat
would
up
work
your-
out nicely
your
for us because
dragon.
then we'd all like help her kill him, and then we wouldn't have to give him the tower.
No, no. I need him to kill the ancient red dragon.
Do we?
Were you
need to
scared?
kill an ancient red dragon?
Yes.
This is. Seems like the party split on this killing an ancient red dragon thing.
I just think we have other issues.
But think of the loot.
I'm just thinking
I'm
that
not
if we
against-
do it, I'm not willing to give up the horde.
I'm not against killing a dragon
Split
for reasons, but if the reason is for bragging rights, there's more interesting things over here. Let me go this way. You know,
It would have great magical weapons to help us in our fight against the Shadowlord.
You hope. You don't know that.
It's an ancient red dragon horde. It's got to have magic items.
Yeah, this is like, come in, guys.
And do you think Gavrix is gonna let us just have all of that?
We don't need all of it.
Well, the thing is we let him start the fight, and when he's injured,
Oh my god.
obviously we just turn on him and kill him
Oh
after
my
the fight's
goodness.
over.
You are horrible.
Wow. That's even more brutal than me at some point.
Wow.
I am
don't
the
know.
spot.
Well, don't forget that this is the guy who like offered to like modify memory a chick for you, Malin.
No, but he was testing me now to do that. I didn't
he
realize
was
then.
doing all sorts of moral tests. At the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, I thought he was
okay.
extremely. I thought
Which
this guy was
you
extremely
all
moral.
passed. Which I thought at least one of you would fail one of the moral tests, but you
Well,
all
okay,
passed.
Arapel,
Is
like
this another
some
moral
of my
test?
characters,
We kill the
some of my
dragon.
characters would have. Some of my characters would have, but not Arapel.
It's a moral test until they go along with it. Then you get free dragon lead. And you're like, no, that wasn't a test. I just want a dragon lead.
I just wanted some new shit.
But if they don't
Well-
go along with it, you're like, it was a test, and you all passed.
I
Good
will
job.
say this, like, most of my groups have not befriended Zana, and several of them have killed her. So I actually think it's really cool that we've got now 2 dragon allies.
Yeah, I'm a little
potentially.
worried. I mean, she is
potentially in
a
this group.
shadow dragon. But, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first party tried to, and we had to fight her though, and that's why when I found out there were other parties that befriended her, I was like, oh man, what the hell? That's cool.
Well, I don't
Well,
think
I don't
your
think-
first group had very good persuasion.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think any of my
'Cause
groups
it does
like
take a really high persuasion to do it.
I've killed her at least 3 times, and I don't think we had bards, and I'm not even sure if we had warlocks or sorcerers in any of those groups.
My monk in that party was always like the boss killer. Not that he did like more damage than anybody, because monks suck, but like for some reason I was always the one that got the last hit on the like I was the one that got the last hit on Xana. I was the one that got the last hit on the sea
You just
beast,
hang out in
and-
the shadows until they're almost dead, and then you strike.
Mhm.
I think you got
No,
some
I
good
agree.
stuns
I
off,
agree
too.
about the monk
Yeah.
suck thing. Like, you want to be awesome, and like I'm my monk character is like I like her, but I'm just so bored in combat.
I think the new monk is a lot, but is really good.
Yeah.
The changes they've done to the monk, I think,
I'll have to
is
check it out.
like they boosted their offense, their defense. It's really just like they kept the mobility, and especially the subclasses got a lot better too. Like just everything was better.
All right. Well, I'll probably respec or something when that all rolls out. Is it-
That's an interesting thing. Is that when the new player's handbook comes out, are you going to allow changes for ongoing games, or just kind of keep things how it is?
You know, I'm gonna read stuff, and if I think that there are really good balance changes, I might try to push for people to change, but I don't think I'm gonna force it. But I might
That makes
say
sense.
new characters that come in will like I said, if I think the changes are all good, like I might say, okay, we're just gonna use the new monk or the new fighter, just because.
Yeah,
I do like, and I think like one of the problems I have now with some of the classes is that it doesn't feel like there's much to them, and it sounds like they address that a lot with like you know,
Yeah.
the new fighter abilities with weapons and like the monk having so much more it can do. So like,
and
or
dual
like-
wielding is actually really good now. Like, because if you have weapon mastery and use a weapon with Nick, and you take the dual wielding feat as like a ranger or a fighter, because I'm playing a ranger and we
Nick?
just hit level 5. Like one of the weapon properties for daggers is Nick, which means that you can use an offhand attack without using your bonus action. And if you use the dual wield feat, says offhand attack with your bonus action. So if you have both, you can actually make 4 attacks at level 5. You know, you'll get your first attack,
Wow.
and then your extra attack. Then you can use your Nick offhand attack, and then a bonus action to do another offhand attack. And then if you've got
Yeah.
if you're a ranger or fighter, and if you've got the fighting style for dual wielding, all your offhand attacks will do modifier damage too now.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
dual wielding has actually become a viable spec finally, comparatively to like two-handed fighting and great weapon master.
yeah.
Well, I'm down to. I appreciate Lou that you add new things that come out to our characters, or choose to re-roll like based on a new design or something. Because like I don't want to re-roll Beryl. I know she's like 3. They've revised the Kobold race 2 or 3 times since I built her. So she's super old, but at the same time, I'm used to her. I've been playing her so long. I don't want to change her. But then other times, like Betha, when Tasha's came out, Betha never used her wild shapes. The Shepherd's Druids don't really have uses for their wild shapes. And so when you let me take the Tasha's rules to use the wild companion thing, like
Oh, yeah,
that gave me
the wild companion.
Yeah. So like
Yeah,
I
it makes
really
sense. I
appreciate
thought that
you
was
like
a good
yeah.
addition.
Yeah. There are, I mean, my moon druids, the Tasha's stuff didn't matter because I already used my wild shapes, you know. But for some, like, I like that you give us those that flexibility. It gives us new fun things that, you know, divert us and make us happy.
I mean, Rogue's got a good glow up. Barbarians are going to get a good glow up. Fighters, I think Warlock is one of the biggest ones that get a great glow up.
I'm curious, who got nerfed?
Paladins.
Which is good.
Really? I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard the smite was nerfed.
I mean,
yeah.
it wasn't a big nerf. It's like you can smite once per turn. That's like that should be how it is. It's
So
like
big.
you can't
But at the
smite
same
6
time-
times every time you like hit the thing.
Well, I mean, you have very limited spell slots, so I don't think that it was the worst overpowered thing before, but it did mean that you could do some amazing damage in a round, you
I
know.
think did they
Yeah.
undo the nerf to crits, or are crits still nerfed?
I think they undid the nerf to crits.
Because everyone whined about it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so on the other hand, though, Paladins can now lay on hands the bonus action, which thank God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't know how I feel about potions as a bonus action. I think that's a mistake. Because didn't
Well,
they make
you-
it so potions are as a bonus action now?
You can
Yeah.
house roll it. I mean, that's up to you because like there's a lot of games I've played in where they already house ruled it where it was a bonus action, but then I've had other DMs like you who said like no, that's too powerful, you know.
It just sucks because potions aren't very powerful until you get to like the really high expensive potions, and it just feels bad when in a big combat and it takes like 30 to 40 minutes to get to your turn that you waste your turn restoring like 12 HP.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, the other
you,
That's the
you
main
probably use a bigger potion at higher level. Like I would
Right.
I would only use smaller potions to like out of combat heal at higher level.
Yeah.
I would never spend an action to like, you know, just drink a normal healing potion. Like it
Well,
would be
Lou,
more
you
like
could-
for a greater heal or like a supreme heal or like some kind of, you know, giant strength potion. But yeah.
Well, Lou, you could go through and make if you wanted to. I mean, I know this is extra work and this is home rules, but I feel like this would make sense if you feel strongly about it. Like,
I'd
make a list of
probably-
like,
well-
if the potion is a buff, then it's this.
No,
if it's a potion
I'd
is
probably
a heal,
try
then
it.
it's this.
I'll try it out
Yeah.
and see how
If
it
you're-
feels.
If you're gonna homebrew rule anything, I would recommend homebrewing Hunter's Mark,
I mean, I homebrewed a ton of stuff already.
Yeah.
because like
What
Did
about
they-
Nathan?
Did they do any
Hunt-
changes to anything outside of combat, like rules for like a keep or army combat or anything like that? 'Cause that's actually what I'd really like them to do is have systems other than just combat.
I think they have a system for bastions is now what they call them, which I think kind of like is under like what like keeps and strongholds.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think they have any for like army combat, but there's a section for bastions from what I
That's
I
just like having some kind of like layer, basically.
yeah, essentially.
Do they have
That's what I've been
camp
told.
rules?
Not
heard-
sure about that.
I heard something like they like the Baldur's Gate camps, and they wanted to do something like that, which is kind of why I did it.
They might. That I'm not sure of. I know that a lot of the DMs I've talked to said they're gonna house rule Hunter's Mark though, because like
What's wrong with
Hunter's Mark got nerfed to only once per turn.
Oh, I don't. That's not
But-
that big a deal.
But the thing is that they've also made a lot
So
of.
they
the
basically made
ranger-
it favorite foe.
Well, that's favorite foe.
I mean,
favorite foe
Pretty
literally
much
says now
everything is
that you
once
can
per
use.
turn.
But the thing is that they've made Hunter's Mark integral to the Ranger class now, because a lot of the Ranger class features, especially the higher level, directly affect Hunter's Mark or require it. And like a lot of the other classes, like Sorcerer and Warlock, get abilities to cast certain like key spells without concentration at higher level that do like way more than Hunter's Mark.
I can take a look.
What
at
about
it.
like Hex? Hex is essentially like a hunter's mark for a different class. So like, is that different?
Yeah, that Hex got turned to once per turn too. But again, there's certain warlocks now. Like one of the warlock subclasses, I think, can cast Hex at a higher level without a spell, without using concentration.
Oh,
And like the great old one warlock now at higher levels, its create thrall lets you cast summon aberration without concentration, and the aberration gets the benefits for like your invocations that affect agonizing blast. So its attacks can like add to your charisma damage and like push and pull enemies if you have those invocations.
Yeah, well, I'll probably take a look at it and I'll see what I think. I mean, they usually do an okay
it's just-
job at balancing.
Well, because just the thing is that playing a ranger now and looking at the stuff, it's rangers have a lot of cool concentration spells, but because so many of their class features now rely on Hunter's Mark, there's no point in using any other concentration spell. Like you pretty much.
I used to really like Hail of Thorns.
Well,
I mean, you have to be careful about your allies, but I actually used to like.
I mean, what do rangers concentrate on usually anyway? Like now, I mean, Hunter's Mark.
They've got you get Zephyr Strike because I'm a melee ranger. Zephyr Strike
do that
is
one
really
a lot.
great.
Yeah, well, you can't mark with Zephyr Strike now. They're both still concentration.
Well, no, but right now there's an argument for like in my scenario, Zephyr Strike. There's a scenario where Zephyr Strike might be better for me than Hunter's Mark, and now that's not really the case because if I don't use Hunter's Mark, I'm essentially losing like half my class features.
I think he's saying some of the higher class features depend on you having Hunter's Mark up first.
Yeah, I mean, is that true for all rangers or just a certain build?
It was just going to be a duration spell instead of concentration, and they kind of didn't do that. And that's a lot of the YouTube channels I talked about. Like that's going to be something we probably homebrew because it's just like.
I mean, if I feel like it's too much of a nerf, I might homebrew it. But I'll probably try it out. Same thing with the potion.
Well, I figured. I mean, that's what it's for is to play test stuff and kind of see how it feels. And that's why that's what I'm doing right now in one of my other games. We're doing that. But even like at level 5, it's just like, man, I really wish I could, as a dual wielding class, use Zephyr Strike occasionally. But like, Hunter's Mark is always better.
Yeah.
Well, I know that I probably, for the most part, Lou, I'm probably not going to want to redo most of my characters, but like there's a couple like that, I haven't really had a lot of fun in combat that I probably will want to play with the new rules. So I appreciate your flexibility in that respect. Yeah.
Certain things like the Paladin Smite stuff I might push for, or I might make it whether or not you change like that it's once per turn. Like I might just keep the new spell rules.
Did they nerf Silvery Barbs? I know you hate that one.
I don't hate Silvery Barbs. I feel like it is very powerful for a first level spell.
It's second level, isn't it?
No, it's first.
First level. Yeah, it should be a second level spell.
Oh, wow.
I feel like it should be second level, or I feel like they should take away like maybe the ability to reroll saving throws or maybe the advantage. But yeah, for a first level spell, I feel like it is overpowered. Not broken, but overpowered.
I feel like a lot of groups forget the advantage bit of it, though, even when they use it. But you're right, it's overpowered even without the advantage, yeah.
Like, if it were second level, I think I'd be more okay with it. Because it
does
make it
feel... second level. I mean, if it comes down to that.
I've considered it, but I don't think it's broken enough like that I want to change it just yet. But I'm definitely...
What about the Twilight Clerics? I know that's another one that you thought was a little imbalanced.
I mean, they're still... Yeah, Twilight Clerics are really powerful.
Like, did they change those?
No, because it's most of the stuff from like they're not redoing anything.
Oh, that's critical. Yeah, it's not like
they're just redoing I think the base stuff, right?
Yeah,
gotcha. Yeah, and some of the stuff from Xanathar is just depending. But like speaking of clerics,
more will probably come, but yeah,
spiritual weapon got nerfed, unfortunately.
Good.
Oh. How so?
I mean, when you say nerf, you mean it was now like a normal spell. It's not like just a free extra attack for clerics.
The one thing that clerics don't have to concentrate on.
Yeah, no. Right? Well, yeah, that's why it was ridiculous.
You can't do spiritual weapon
get a
and
free
spiritual
attack
guardian.
just by a second level spell. Yeah, no, it's silly. I'm glad they did that.
Well,
it always should have been concentration.
See you, man.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
But I mean, I don't think the combo was not really any damage any other way aside from like those two sources. So it's not like they were like cleaving through the battlefield. Actually, war clerics now. War clerics get to cast spiritual. One of their abilities is they can cast spiritual weapon without concentration.
Well, that's
So
good.
there is a spec for that. For people that still want to do that, thankfully.
Yeah, that was the
So it's
only
not
cleric I
completely
ever
dead.
played was a war cleric. It was so fun.
Yeah, but
I played I usually
mean,
multi-class, but I
the
love a lot of the cleric stuff.
cleric subclasses, like most of them, just are nowhere near as good as Peace or Twilight. Like
They
I would argue
They need-
life is pretty damn good, and war. If you're a martial character, one dip into war can.
Oh
help
my
a lot.
god! I think one of our clerics in our Just Friends group had that stupid combo where they took that feat and the life cleric ability, so that like every good berry restored like 4 or 5 HP or something. So like one cast of good berry could restore like.
You don't need a feat for that.
I just
You don't need a
Very
feat.
potent, good berry.
well, I nerfed that already. I don't do that anymore.
Wait, you nerfed? Wait! You nerfed that?
Yeah. Because it
When?
so the biggest problem actually the normal use of it isn't too bad. The problem that I started having was that people would like spend 4 or 5 of their spells before going to bed to make these like bushels of like 100 HP plus healing berries that last 24 hours, and then they're just like, no, we just don't need downtime healing. We just sit there and pop good berries all day.
I
Okay,
remember
wait a
the
minute.
first-
Wait a
and I
minute.
was like,
Wait a minute.
no,
Wait a
this
minute.
is no
This
good.
is exactly the argument I made, and you said, "Well, Jeremy Crawford says otherwise." When we
in
were
the beginning, I felt that way, and then I played it and I changed my mind.
Okay.
I remember the first time our cleric did that, and you were like reading through it to make sure it worked. I remember you were not happy.
No, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well, this is fine. This is fine. It's a multi-class, and yada yada. But then it was like, no, this is just too powerful for a 1-level
so-
dip.
Yeah, Glenn,
Like it's
I mean, I
basically like a 1-level dip, and like you never have to worry about out of combat healing again. Like you're everyone's at full
'Cause-
constantly.
Yeah, because at least Aura of Vitality being super powerful out of combat healing, at least that is a 3rd level spell.
Yeah, that's not nearly.
right, but
'cause,
Aura
okay.
of Vitality doesn't get Disciple of Life because Disciple of Life. Wait, no, I'm sorry,
No,
it doesn't get.
It doesn't get the druid one.
Never mind. Yeah, it
but
doesn't
like a good berry at 1st level, what is it, +4? So it's like what, heals for like 4 per good berry, or
No,
5?
it's plus-
5.
It's 2 plus spell level, so it'd be +3, so it'd be 4 total. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's like 40 HP of healing with a level 1 spell, and that just lasts all day.
This is exactly the
And then-
argument I made
and then
when I
you-
was upset about
Well,
you.
Well, like I said, I played it and I saw how
Yeah.
it could be abused better, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I changed my
So
mind.
the original
Well,
Tuesday
the
group.
first thing I did was nerf Goodberry so it would go away when you long rested. People did not like that. So I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to nerf the
Oh,
interaction.
that's interesting. Because the
So-
spell that I don't agree with, because the spell specifically states that the berries last 24 hours.
Yeah,
And
it
so
was a
even
house
if I was not manipulating the whole Disciple of Life thing, which I have always believed should not apply to good berries, but you told me it did, and you took it
By
away from
raw
other
it
things.
does, but yeah.
You know what you should do?
There are other things that I thought that Disciple of Life should apply to that you said it didn't, and then you
Yeah.
said it did apply to good berries, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to exploit
No,
this.
it was the
But-
druid thing that, like, Disciple of Life
No,
applies to
you
pretty
said
much
no.
everything.
It was we were talking about Disciple of Life and Aid, and but anyway.
No,
but my
it
point
was
is,
the what was the druid that does the
are you talking about Shepherd Totem?
yeah, it was the
the-
shepherd totem that we were arguing about.
No, no, it was
So
Disciple of
what
Life.
does Disciple of Life
applying
not apply
Aid.
to?
It was a Disciple of Life and Aid. But anyway, that's not the point.
Oh, Aid.
My point is,
yeah, 'cause
my
Aid's
point
not-
is, I never thought it should apply, but even on my druids who are not life clerics, or my rangers, being able to like, oh, we're going to bed. I have a couple 1st level spell slots left. I'm gonna make some good berries, and then the party using them for their rations or whatever at the end of the night, and having a few in their pocket the next day for a 1 HP that might bring someone up. Like, that's valuable. And you saying like that's not going to last 24 hours when the spell description says 24 hours, I think is maybe. I understand you're trying to mitigate
Well,
the
I'm
life
not.
cleric
I'm not
thing,
doing that.
but-
That was what I originally offered them.
Oh, okay.
I said you can have the 4 healing per berry, but the berries just aren't going to last past a long rest. And they're like, oh,
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah.
So
All
then
right.
I
That makes sense.
just
Then.
I just settled on, all right, well then I'll just make it so good berry isn't affected by Disciple of
Well,
Life.
the other thing
You
that
know what I should-
happened is after you told me that, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm going to exploit this. And I started like, we'd go to bed and I would cast like a 7th level Goodberry and I'd hand them out to all the group. The group never used them. This was the original Tuesday group. They never remembered that they had them in their pockets.
Yeah, well that's them. Other groups definitely remembered they had them.
Well, the thing is, I think the way it should
The
count
funny-
is the way a lot of other things work is that, like Disciple of Life should work once per spell, so it should affect Goodberry, but it should affect basically like the first berry. Like the first berry you get should heal 4, and then all the other berries heal 1.
That would make sense. It's funny because I was looking, I was going to make a healer druid in Baldur's Gate, and I was trying to figure out if they had that as a thing. And according to what, because I was just like reading, like I was reading up on the internet, and apparently they did it first because people were complaining, like back in the beta when they changed it. So apparently the Goodberry life cleric interaction was a thing in the earlier version of Baldur's Gate 3. But they nerfed it because it was like ridiculous. How much?
And they
healing.
have some ridiculous shit, so that tells you like
Yeah, hasting
if
to
they-
do multiple spells. Or it's like or like when you cast a spell like Moonbeam, just immediately hits something.
Or like rogue subclass letting you get just 2 bonus actions, like
Yeah.
for and then just combining that with monk. Oh my god, that's such.
Well, there's probably a guy at the studio who was like, "No, we gotta do the Goodberry interaction," and then like they did it, and they're like, "Oh my god, this healing is insane. No, we can't do this."
It's like there's no reason to camp anymore.
Yeah, you just like have like
Yeah.
15 berries and just
No, I'm totally okay with that. Like literally, the only reason I started trying to use Goodberry with Disciples of Life is because you said it didn't. Aid is not a healing spell, and I was like, well, fine. If Disciple of Life